Welcome to the Dirt Life Show with your host, George Hamill.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 149 of the Dirt Life Show. Really appreciate all you guys joining us tonight. Man, we have such a great show for you guys. First of all, it's been so crazy lately. We're January 9th, 2023. We are with my buddy Tristan Twisselman, dude. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course.
We are in, put the mic as close as you can. We are in San Luis Obispo, California at Tristan's Ranch. And holy cow, has life really thrown us for a loop. It's pretty crazy to see the amount of, I don't know what you want to call it, frustration in the atmosphere, in the air, like in everything that we've been doing lately. And today was no joke. Today they have floods, people lost their lives, all kinds of different crazy stuff up here. But we're lucky enough to be able to be sitting here in a covered environment. We got the show going, so it's going to be really cool. Today's episode, we're going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff, including perception, choices, which is something that Tristan's really into, and accountability, and how that all works out and how it all comes together, and how it actually goes to your race program. I wanted to start off 2023 with a little bit different episode. We have some really, really good guests that are going to come on with us. Our first guest of the night, he won't join us for about 20 minutes or so, Billy Grotto from Twisted Tea. Billy's got a really cool story, man, so we can't wait to talk with him. Justin Smith from Shock Therapy. We're going to talk with him a little bit about why he started his business and how it's grown. He did it for some very good reasons. We're going to talk with Hunter Miller, factory Can-Am driver, and see what he thinks about adversity, never giving up, just really, really putting your mind down to it. We're going to talk with Lindsay Geyser. Lindsay Geyser is a young creative, obviously from the Geyser family, and I think you know her, Tristan, don't you?
Not like we've ever met.
No?
No.
Okay, well, you get to meet her tonight, man, so it'll be pretty cool. She's got a really good story. She really, really works her butt off, so it's going to be awesome to talk with her. We're going to talk with Do It For Be More, Brian Moore. Brian has had a rough last week or so because of some unfortunate events. Actually, you know what? Let's do that right now. Let's give a moment of silence to some people that we lost over the past week or so. Tristan also lost his dog. Some serious events have happened. Greg Cazzo, Lucas Oil, unfortunately passed away. Ken Block and Robbie Pierce. So, man, let's just wait a second and give them a moment of silence. All right. We really give all of our thoughts and prayers out to all those people's families. Again, this episode is really coming at a great time. Tristan and I actually started scheduling this a month or two ago. Because of stuff that was going on in your life, kind of.
Yeah, it's probably...
It is a while.
Yeah, it was like a month ago.
Yeah, so it's been a while. But now it seems like it's just a good time to talk about this stuff, right? And this show is not going to be sad at all. We're going to talk about all kinds of good stuff that has happened because people make the right choices and because they're hardworking individuals. And I think we can also relate all of this stuff back to racing programs and how you can live your life to the fullest and really get the most out of everything that you do. So we're going to be stoked to talk with B More, hang out with him. Jesse Nelson was supposed to come down, but the weather's a little too treacherous, dude.
I know.
So we're not going to be able to talk with Jesse unless he signs in, but he's got some stuff to do. And we're also going to talk with Caden Danbury. Caden Danbury is a youth racer, professional youth racer now, going to race some Desert Series stuff. And it'll be good to talk with him and get a younger perspective from it. I would like to talk about some stuff that will go pretty far, I think, in everybody's lives, Tristan. The first thing that I want to talk about, actually, you know what? Let me give the sponsors out of the way real quick. So I'm Georgie Hamill. Again, Tristan Twisselman with me. A cool story that just happened on the way up here. So there was a bunch of guys riding their California Highway Patrol bikes going up the 91 freeway towards Anaheim. And I was cruising up, and all of a sudden, I hear him kind of light me up. And he's gets on the loudspeaker. He goes, "Fuck yeah, dude, I love the show. Keep up the good work." So I want to give a shout out to the California Highway Patrol guys on bikes. There was 7 of them just ripped past me. It was so sick. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Big shout out. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
Safe to say that wasn't today.
It was not today. Yeah, safe to say. Yeah, it looks like people are actually having to evacuate their houses and stuff today. Yeah, so thank you very much to them. We already did the moment of silence. And I want to say, I think about people a lot. You probably do too, Tristan, like other people and their feelings and all of these different things, right? Sharing and helping people grow is a massive part of both of our lives. And I think today's episode is a bit different, and we hope it can help you guys. Please share the show too. Down there at the bottom of the show, or at the bottom of your screen on Instagram and on Facebook and all the different shows, you can share it and send it over to all your friends. That will help us a lot. So please share the show as much as possible. Thank you to all of our show sponsors. You can see over right to Tristan's left, probably the right of your screen. You can see some really nice KMC wheels on that Honda Talon. So thank you very much to all the guys at KMC for helping out the show. Thank you to the guys over at Maxxis Tires. They came on board late last year. We're going to do some really fun stuff with them over at KOH. So stay tuned for that. Thanks to all the guys at Motul. Got a nice jacket on today. Rain jacket. Needed it today. They make some really good products. You can go down to your local Cycle Gear and pick up any of those Motul products, some Shine and Go. After you get it all muddy and wash it up, some Motul oils. Thanks to the guys at Shock Therapy. Justin's going to call in. You can use code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com. Get yourself some limit straps, some steering racks, BSD kit. Thanks to the guys at JL Audio. Really appreciate those guys being on board. Get some tunes for your whip. Evolution Power Sports, they have some cool stuff, man. They have a bunch of new cool Pro R products. We're going to do a little bit of cool stuff with our Pro R with those guys. So check out that stuff in the next couple months. Thanks to guys at Zollinger Racing Products. Dude, it's like Bill of Jewelry, that stuff that they have.
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
It's
The Dirt Life is a code. You can buy some tie rods, radius rods. Thanks to the guys over at Vision Canopies. We're going to have a show with them in just a couple weeks here. And thanks to the guys at Cryo Heat. All right, so the stuff that I want to talk about, Tristan, today was, like I said, perspective or perception and choices and accountability. Both of those fall like really, really a lot in your wheelhouse, right? So give everybody a little bit of a background on what you do and like where you came from so we can understand you a little bit better.
Born and raised here in San Luis Obispo.
Yep.
Lived on this ranch we're at my entire life. Was like as a kid growing up, just local stuff, was racing dirt bikes and doing that whole thing, you know.
Big
But
dirt bike
also,
guy.
yeah, but also growing up in a rodeo family, I was doing team roping and horses and all that. Kind of the black sheep of the family in that regard.
Really?
Well, I mean, I still know how to rope and everything, but I was the one on a dirt bike and instead of the horse
instead of
and everything
yep.
else. And then eventually got hurt and couldn't like really race anymore and picked up a camera while I was hurt, and that's kind of
Where it all started.
where the photo stuff started, and then got my pilot's license and was flying drones, remote control airplanes at the same time, and kind of everything just snowballed into what it is today.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, and so for anybody that doesn't know, Tristan does tons of photo stuff, video stuff for the motorsports industry, well, and other industries too. But
Yeah.
man, he does some really, really good work. Mike Gardner, Katie Vernola, what's up, guys? How are you? It sounds like just from hearing you say that, like when you say you were the black sheep, that kind of puts you in a position at a young age, right? And we're going to talk about a lot more deep stuff tonight, like that is similar situations, but it makes you start thinking different, right? It makes you start thinking how you can do things better, how you can make yourself better, how you can, like if you're an insecure kid at school, how you can be cooler, how you can fit in and all those different things, right? But it also gives you the opportunity to set yourself apart from everybody else, right?
I mean, I was so fortunate, I still am, but growing up, my parents had like a motor home, and I had my enclosed race trailer, and my brother had his horse trailer. And usually everything would never fall on the same weekend, so they'd be at the track and helping me and letting me use all my dad's equipment to build tracks in the backyard and everything else. So they've been
really?
Yeah. So no matter what I do, they've been 100% supportive.
Dude, that's super cool.
So that's
man.
been
Yeah,
really
and
nice.
that's super helpful, right? Because they always got your back. Like those types of things, like support mechanisms and stuff, I think are really, really important.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have my pilot's license or any of that stuff if it wasn't for my parents.
Yeah, talk about that. That was probably pretty up and down trying to get your pilot's license.
Was
that a roller coaster of emotions?
No, it wasn't that bad. The only emotional part of it all probably was after like 10 to 15 hours you fly for yourself for the first time. So you're like sitting there, do your takeoff, do your landing, and your instructor's in there, and then next thing you know, he'll be like, hey, pull over by the tower.
Oh, really?
And you kind of just know at that point he's getting out and you have to take off.
Dude, that's
for
probably
yourself.
so scary.
Doesn't really hit you until you leave the ground and you're like, okay, if I panic or freak out or whatever, nobody's helping me land this. Like, you're up there by yourself.
Yeah, but like all of your life has pretty much prepared you for that. All these little things that you probably never even thought, like muscle memory and focus and like all these things that you learned up to that, like probably came into play.
But legally, it's only 10 hours.
Oh, really?
Like, once you've flown with an instructor for 10 hours, if they feel you're ready after 10 hours, you could technically go solo.
Really?
Yep.
Dude, that's crazy. And are they the ones that make that decision?
Yeah, they make that decision, yeah.
Dude, that's freaking wild. Well, I'm glad that you got it. Like, how was it? Like, did you start your whole deal? Like, how was it doing it?
I think I was like 21 when I started.
Yeah.
And it was just my birthday one day. My parents, we all got in the car. I don't know if they said we were going to lunch or something, and we were going out to the airport. And they're like, oh, we got you an intro flight for your birthday. If you like it, we'll pay for you to get your pilot's license. And I never even thought about it. Like, my dad has his, but I never even thought about it.
I think that's so cool, though. I want to get one.
Yeah, it's literally hands down the best feeling.
Game changer, right? Okay, so let me bring up a couple subjects that I want to just like briefly touch on. If you guys are watching on Facebook and YouTube, sorry, we just got a wide angle that you guys got to just basically check out that shot. That's the only one we got that's available until we switch over to some of the cameras. So sorry about that, guys. Again, not much we can do today because of all this weather. So I think the main topics that we're going to talk about is personal development. We're going to talk about how it relates to racing, relationships and family, injuries, and how it can relate to business. And these are all things that our guests are going to talk about with us. But one of the things that I wanted to get out of the way, first of all, was talking about this perception stuff. An example that I came up with was when you see a trash man. A trash man, usually the perception should be, wow, man, that guy's a hard worker. Like a trash guy, he's out there doing one of the gnarliest jobs, right? Whether he's using a truck or doing it with his hands or his body. But that's not the way that it works. Everybody looks at that and goes, ew, that's a trash man. I don't want that job. But it's much easier to teach a skill set than it is to teach somebody that's lazy. If somebody's lazy or not a hard worker, you just can't get past that.
Unless, you can't teach work ethic.
Right. Like it just doesn't work like that, right? So perception in those situations means a lot. And that's just a little tiny piece of, I think, some of the things that we're going to see with the people that we talk about, like you, Tristan, today, and all of our other guests, is you guys don't ever see it like I just stated. That's 90% of the human, and social dilemma that we have these days, right? But now you don't see it that way. You see, dude, that guy's a hard worker. If I ever needed somebody to come help on the ranch, I would ask that dude because I know he would kill it.
I definitely think about a lot of jobs, like everybody that's working in the fields and everything else, and sometimes maybe they're illegal or whatever, and where people are against that, and it's like, are you going to go do that job?
Yeah. But because they're out there just hustling, right?
Right.
Like, yeah.
And they're not doing it for a lot of money either. They're just...
But their perception of it doesn't matter. I'm just going to work.
No, they're just thankful to be working.
100%. And I think that's the right perception, right? And a couple other things that we're going to probably hear about tonight is like time. Time is one of our most valuable assets, right? So you can hear and listen to all kinds of motivational podcasts and different things. And Tristan talked about this in a social media post that he did the other day. But don't waste time. Like you have 168 hours in every week. 168 hours. That's insane. If you watch TV for 4 to 6 hours a day, that is almost 30% of your time of your life. 30% of your time of your life just because you think it's okay to watch TV for 4 to 6 hours. I'm not saying it's good. You can do it all you want.
I got to quit binge watching Netflix is what you're telling me.
Well, my point is not that you can't do that. Like, dude, I'm guilty of it too. Like,
right.
I took a couple days off over the holidays, dude, and I watched TV for like 6 hours, right? But it's fine to do that at certain times. But the main thing to understand here is that 30% of your life, if you're just doing that, when you come home from work, oh, dude, I got to have a beer, I'm tired or whatever, right? Like, don't do that. Just have a beer and hang out with your family. Just don't watch TV, right? Because that's 4 to 6 hours that you can spend with your family. That's 30% of your time spending with your family or whatever it is. Like, so when you manage your time and do all of those different things, especially if you have a race program, especially if you're building a project car like yours behind you, Tristan, like those time management skills can really, really help. So, man, 168 hours in a week. And most people get bogged down when they're talking about a 40-hour work week, right? It just shouldn't happen. The perspective should be like, dude, I got a lot more time I could use.
Right. Utilize it.
Yep, exactly. Everyone can control their actions and their mindset. If you are there and or if you see a problem, you should be the one with the solution. So a lot of times people will just go up and, at the checkout register or whatever it is, and they'll bitch at the lady for not doing something right, or there's an issue, right? Or they got to go back and get another grocery or something like that, and they tell the other bag lady or something to go run and get the grocery. Well, it's you the one that forgot it. Like, you should go get it. Or you shouldn't have gotten in line without it, right? Like, think ahead and those types of things. So there's always situations where you can be the one that has the solution, right? So think about how many choices we just had setting up the show today.
A lot.
A lot, right? And I asked questions, and you didn't ever reply back to me. Not once did you say, I don't know. You said, oh, well, we could do it this way. Like, you always had a solution, right?
None of them were that great, but
we thought of stuff that would work out, right?
Absolutely.
And even going, like, when we started testing the internet tonight, you found solutions. You were like, hey, you know what? This internet over here is not working. Let's try this other one. Now we're live on the show.
It's still better than Nelson's.
Poor Jesse. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that we can use as motivation if you just think of the solution instead of being part of the issue or whatever. So that's a big piece of it.
That reminds me, I did a shoot in Nashville, I think it was early November for Red Bull, and they had a bunch of coolers shipped in.
Yeah.
And they had this big vending machine one that it looks like it fell off the truck or something like that. And I think my flight it was delayed a bunch, got there 11 p.m., show up, and we're sitting there, and Lindsay, who you just recently met, was talking to this other guy, and it's all broken and bent, and they're she tells the other guy, she's like, well, Tristan's pretty handy, he's coming, maybe he can fix it.
Yeah. And
I'm already tired, right? Just flew this whole way all day, get there, and I'm like, well, look, I was we can make it better, we can make it work, and I think I got a pair of vice grips, and 2 screwdrivers, and we made it work, and they ended used it for the shoot and everything else.
See, that's exactly what I'm saying, being part of the solution, dude. That's exactly what I think a lot more people should be like. One of the good things that I do have to say about people that race and people that are part of teams is a lot of guys are like that, right? They'll MacGyver everything and just get it going to get across the finish line. I think that that's a lot of the way that life should actually work, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to try and get, let's see here, Billy Grotto on when he signs in. Again, finding solutions. So I have to actually walk to the back and allow people to come on the show. So you guys might see Tristan sitting here by himself for just a couple seconds every now and then. But we'll get Billy Grotto on here, and we'll start talking with him a little bit about some of the stuff that he's gone through in his life to be able to be a better person. I just really think that some of this stuff is valuable in racing programs, right? When you have an open perception and you can see things. I'll give you an example. A guy like Jesse Nelson or a guy like me should have never been able to race side-by-sides professionally, right? So Jesse puts on different controls and different things like that so he can control the car. Well, so I did too, right? And then all of these things happen along the way. He has to figure out solutions, problems, all kinds of stuff because you're changing everything. But he's accountable for it. I was accountable for it. And all of the stuff will end up working out in the end because he learned so much from it, because I learned so much from it, right? And I was able to win races at a professional level. Like, it was super cool to see. And some people didn't support me. Some people fucking hated it. Like, but it was cool to me. Like, I was the winner there, right? Because I found all kinds of solutions to different problems. And those types of things are only because the perception that Jesse has and the perception that I had, and you've helped Jesse a million times, is limitless still.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it is crazy to me. You look at where Jesse was with the dirt bikes and everything else, and then where he's out with the side by sides, and just how much. I mean, you know how much work it takes to prep a car before a race and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so gnarly, dude.
And like a lot, I mean, he has some help, but he's doing a lot of that stuff by himself.
Yeah, 100%. But he's getting it all done though, right? Like,
yeah,
he's making sure that he can do it all. All right, we got Billy Grotto on now. What's up, Billy? How are you?
What's up, George? What's going on, Tristan? How you doing, man?
What's happening,
dude? It's really good to see you, man. So we're getting talking about some pretty cool subjects today, man. This stuff is really, really fun, and I love talking about this kind of stuff. We've been talking about just life in general, right? And trying to see how we can relate it back to racing. You've lived a pretty adventurous life, so give us a little bit of a breakdown of where you're at right now and where you came from.
Well, first, I love when everybody say, "Hey, it's good to see you," and I say, "It's better to be seen than viewed." You know what I mean? And I love how you opened up the show with a moment of silence, man, because, loss is real. And I think it's great that you guys recognize that at the beginning of the show. And I just want to call that out. But where I'm at right now, I'm here in the warehouse where we keep all the equipment for the event experiential. So behind me is like, I kind of staged it. I'm not going to lie. I got a bunch of equipment back here, and I got a bunch of bikes. There's a bunch of stuff that you guys can't see. But, George, you and I met kind of through Supercross and like my partnership with Suzuki. We're the title sponsor of the factory Suzuki team. And that's how you and I met. And what I do for the brewery is I handle the motorsports activation. So I like to call it, the V-twin operation. So all the Harley motorcycle rallies, I go there and I promote Twisted Tea at the motorcycle rallies. And then with Supercross, I manage the sponsorship for the team. And it's a lot of fun. A blessed life, man. I mean, really.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I think it's cool that, and I messed up. Sorry for the lack of intro, but Billy is a marketing guy over at Twisted Tea and Boston Brewing Company. He does a really, really good job. And being able to see him in action, I got to see him over there at Sturgis. It was pretty cool. But the cool part about it is that he actually has a really cool perception of pretty much everything going on around him, right? So like he actually fight like battles internally sometimes because he'll have a good idea, just like anybody does in a corporate environment, and be like, hey, dude, let's go sponsor Supercross and motocross. And then he worked on it and he got it done, dude. That was so cool. And so now you see it like in our area, Tristan.
Right.
That's like, it's so sick to see the support, right?
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And I'm really blessed because, I work for a great company with a great team. And, usually they don't say yes to everything. But most of the time when I have a good idea and I pitch it, they're into it. And, I love what you guys, the topics about like attitude and perception and kind of like overcoming adversity, because everybody's going to have adversity in their life. It could be small or it could be large. And for me, it's all about the attitude and having gratitude, an attitude of gratitude and being grateful for the things that I have before they become the things that I had. Because, nothing is going to last forever, whether it's good or it's bad. Yeah. And I forget how, I think there's like Lao Tzu was like, was a Chinese philosopher. And I think he said that once complained that he had no shoes until he saw the man that he had no feet. And that to me is about what you were talking about earlier about the garbage man and the perception, and about the way that we look at things and the way we look at certain situations. Like if you think about all the people on planet Earth, less than 5% live in the United States and have the opportunities and the things that we have, the things we take for granted, electricity, running water, access to food, access to shelter. And, I know in California, you guys are going up against it now with some natural disasters going on with the rain and things like that. And like, when you take away those things, it puts into perspective, like how lucky we are to have access to these things.
Yeah, you have no idea, man. Yeah, and life does that to all of us, right? Like, there's a lot of people that are going to be watching the show, and just hearing you say that brings back all kinds of memories in my head, but that have been through just the shit in life, right? Like, but now they can, be on top of it. They rose above it, or they were in an injury, or they lost a family member, or they, might have had a relationship problem, or were bullied in school, or whatever it was. But when you see the perception, like the way that you're talking about, it really helps you rise above it, because you don't know what you had until it was gone, or until you saw that bad part.
Yeah, totally. And like, whenever I come up against something that I think, is a bad thing or an adversity, the first thing I have to do is I have to accept it. I can't try and control everything and change everything, because you have to control the controllables. Yep. And there are just some things that are way outside of my control. And if I start thinking about trying to control things that are out of my control, I'm not going to focus on the solution, which is what you were just talking about when you fix the Red Bull coolers with the vice grips.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, to be action-based, solutions-based, instead of like worrying about the things I can't control. So I have to accept things as they are, but I can't just accept them. I have to realize and think about what are the things that I can do to change the situation outside of accepting it, for myself.
Yeah, and that happens all the time, right? Like, Tristan's gone through it before, but I think, you guys both can probably relate to this. Like, so Tristan grew up racing dirt bikes as well. So one thing that I think, since this is a dirt show, I think that racing is very important to all of our audience. The best thing about most racers is that they can forget what just happened in the last corner. But when you get off the track, you have to remember that so that you're accountable for it, so you don't make that mistake the next time. So quickly forgetting about it and moving on, totally cool, right? Because that changes everything. But you have to be accountable for it, like what Billy was saying, because then you have to be able to make yourself better. So if you can do that, the amount of progress that you'll see in a race or in life in general will increase exponentially.
Yeah, and like he was saying about like the stuff that's out of your control, I'm definitely guilty of it. Like, there's things that are out of my control that I just nothing I can do about it but roll with the punches or whatever. But those things still drive me crazy.
Like today, we got drove crazy a million times because we got this
massive
storm outside.
What do you do?
But yeah, that's crazy that you talk about that, Billy, because you travel a lot and you do a bunch of different things with thousands and thousands and thousands of people every year. So there's all kinds of different variables in your job and your life. You must be finding solutions and being accountable for all kinds of stuff. Maybe even not even being accountable for yourself, doing it for other people.
Yeah, I mean, I try to. And I mean, I wanted to talk about that too, like the things that matter. But like when we were talking about like adversities, think about something like something as small as traffic. If I'm going to get stuck in traffic, right? Am I going to sit there and complain about it all day long? Or am I just going to get over it and move on and say, all right, hey, guess what? Next time I'm going to leave a little earlier. Or, hey, guess what? Next time I'm going to take a different route. Or, hey, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to just sit there and walk around like I got rocks in my shoes all day long complaining about the traffic that happened 8 hours ago. It's like, let's move on.
Dude, Tristan, how many times have you seen a racer come off the track and just be like, dude, fuck that guy. He was in front of me. He was blocking me the whole time. It's like, no, dude, you were the one that was behind him. Like, it was your fault because you didn't get a better start. Like,
we had some experiences like that when me and Jesse raced KOH.
I mean, I get it. There's always stuff that happens, right? But take accountability for the position that you were in, because you can't change the other dude. You can only change yourself. So the only way you're going to get better and finish ahead of that guy is to make sure that you were accountable and make the a solution to that issue, right, Billy?
Oh, 100%. But there's nothing I love more than blaming other people for the things that happen to me. But luckily, I'm at a point in my life where I have to take responsibility, because blame, it comes out as one word, but it's actually 4 words. It's blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Me.
100%.
Right? Because if I'm pointing the finger at somebody else, there's 3 of them pointing back at me.
Dude,
right?
100%. So that accountability came right back.
Totally, man. And then, like, when you talk about being on the road, and like things that racers and just people in general will encounter, I like to think internal dialogue. So if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, man, we got a problem. We got a big problem," I say, "No, we have a change. We have a change. We don't have a problem. Something changed, and we need to adjust. Yep. Let's just everybody take a deep breath, and let's look and focus on the things that we can fix here and what we can do, not what we can't do and what's out of our control."
Do you guys run into that a lot too? Like, I don't know, when you were racing or like all of that stuff where you have an issue that you have to fix quickly and everybody on the team comes up with solutions, or how does it usually work?
Yeah. I mean, like KOH, for example, we were about as unprepared as you could be.
Yeah, you and Jesse?
Yeah, we did not, we didn't know the course. We didn't have the course on anything except for an iPad about like right beforehand, and then our service on our iPad didn't really work. So when we did go out, it was just blind. The car wasn't ready. Every night we were working on the car until 2 a.m.
Yep.
We did our pre-running. I think we pre-ran like 17 miles in the Honda because both of his, like the one car had a power steering problem, and then
That's every single race for most racers. It's like you just have to figure shit out.
Yeah, like, and in hindsight, it's kind of funny because it was a bummer we didn't finish. I think we made it to like mile marker 100 something before we broke both tie rods, but we missed a fuel pit stop, so we never would have been able to finish anyways.
Yeah, but looking at it like in hindsight, like how much did you guys learn? Because that to me seems like it would be almost impossible to get to that point.
Oh, we learned the fact that we made it as far as we did.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
It was like and just the amount of time and everything. Because I'll never forget. We're like sitting on the line, getting ready, and we're lined up next to Curry. And Jesse at first was like, "I'm just gonna let him go out in front of us, and then we'll like follow whatever."
Yeah.
But that's not his mindset.
Yeah.
So like once the flag dropped, Jesse's wide open, gets out in front, and it's funny because we're like cruising out in the desert in the dirt strip, and I don't know what helicopter, whoever was filming Curry was like right there down in front of us. It was pretty rad. But
yeah, it's cool to see that though, because like Billy, just take this as an example. Like what they're talking about, KOH is a desert race, but it's through rocks and stuff. And I mean, there's no way you could find it. Like if I went out in the desert, I would just get lost. So think about taking going on a road ride and being like, yeah, I'm going to go halfway across the United States and I got to go to this one hotel in the middle of Oklahoma. Be like, I got to find it there. And then you run out of gas, you get a flat tire, and you have 0 cell service or no map, and you just got to find your way. Like it's impossible to think about that, but they did that. They got halfway there. Like, could you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, that's just if before you win, before you get there, you got to have the will to win.
Yeah.
And you got to want to get there. Right. So it's got to start there. And with being resilient and tenacious and positive, you'll get to the finish line. Because the way I like to try and look at things is like, there's no such thing as a bad day. Like the fact that we're talking to each other and you're in California, I'm in South Florida in real time off of a little device that fits in my pocket that I drop half the time all day long. And for whatever reason, the only time it breaks is when Apple wants to sell me a new phone. right? Isn't that the funniest thing you ever heard in your life? I drop my phone more than any normal human being should drop their phone. Yet the only time it really malfunctions is when Apple wants to sell me a new one.
Yep.
How great is that? How amazing is this? Look at the positive. Like, how the only bad day is the day that I'm not blinking anymore.
Yep.
When my eyes are closed forever. That's kind of a bad day. But
Yeah.
aside of that, it's just a fact. It's just a situation of life, man. And it's all about internal dialogue and how I'm using to handle adverse situations. Am I going to shrug it off and just say, "Oh, what the hell? It's raining at my picnic. What am I going to do about it? Let's have fun anyway."
Yep.
Or am I going to walk around, kicking garbage cans all over the place? Brother, raining all day long, and making everybody else scared.
But that's just
making everybody.
That's because of your perception.
You know what I mean? Yeah. All about perception. It's all about trying to stay positive, no matter what.
Dude, it's cool to see that. Can you open that door again?
I think it is open,
okay.
isn't it?
It's just dark out there. Yeah, that perception really goes a long way, though, Billy. Like, when you think about it, because most people will just throw in the towel, right? Like, I just see so many different things that happen with social media, and we could go on a tangent about this, but and the way that people get instant gratification, all this stuff, it's so easy to just change that little tiny piece, right? And it makes you such a better person that translates into your life, your happiness, your racing program, the things that you're passionate about. If you're part of a ranch, it changes the attitude of all the workers around you. There's so many different things that can be a positive from it. And we've saw a lot of comments that have been coming up, and beginning with Tristan and now with you, Billy. So many people are amped on you, and that's because of the perception that you have and the way that you show your life and the way that you live. That is really, really meaningful to a guy like me to be able to see that kind of compassion.
Well, thanks. And it means a lot to me, and it means the world to me. And I'm eternally grateful that people like me, and live my life in a way where I want to be liked. I want to like people. You know what I mean? I don't want people to be like, "Hey, that Billy Grotto, what a jerk." I want them to be like, "Hey, I like that guy. He's kind of funny. He's kind of real." And it's not dependent upon that. It's something that makes me feel good, and I like to feel good. Make people feel good. I mean, why wouldn't you? It beats the alternative. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it beat the alternative?
Dude, you have no idea, man. Yeah. And some things happen in people's lives, right? We're going to get Justin Smith from Shock Therapy on, Billy. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or you want me to transition into him?
There's one last thing I wanted to say, and it almost sounds obvious, but think about this. There's two kinds of people in this world. A guy gets a flat tire and gets out, and he gets the jack, and gets the spare, and changes the tire, and he continues on down the road, and he's having a good old day. And then there's a guy who gets a flat tire, and he gets out his switchblade, and he slashes the other three tires.
Dude.
Which person are you going to be?
Dude.
Are you going to be in the solution, or are you going to stay pissed off, creating more problems for yourself?
Dude, that's the same guy that throws his helmet after he gets out of the race car.
Right.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it, Billy, because, yeah, I love that, man. We'll probably use that for the rest of the night as some of the examples. All right, man. Hey, I can't wait to see you next time, just like all the people that are commented. It's always good to talk with you, bud.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys, thanks a million.
All right, Billy, take it easy.
Twisted.
Thanks, Billy Grotto from Twisted Tea. Appreciate him coming on the show. We're going to get Justin Smith from Shock Therapy on here as well. Talk with him a little bit about some of the stuff that he's experienced in his life. Let's get Justin on real quick. Make sure it comes on real quick. It's cool to talk with people that have that type of mindset, right, Tristan?
Absolutely.
All right, so looks like we got Justin Smith from Shock Therapy on. Justin, what's going on, man?
How's it going, guys? How's your night so far?
Dude, we're in Central California, so these storms have just been ravishing all of this country out here. But, man, our perception is that we're good. We're talking to you, and we're having a good time on the Dirt Life show. So that's the way we're living.
That's all right. I like swimming. You guys probably do too.
Hey, so I wanted to start this off because I learned a lot from you over the years. You've been a mentor of mine. You've helped me with my racing program. You've helped me start this business that we have now with the Dirt Life Show. But going back and you personally, you started, in fact, we talked about it on the Dirt Life Show before, you started shock therapy I don't want to say by default, but by necessity, right? Your wife had back issues and you wanted to be able to take her off-roading and you wanted to make her feel comfortable. Those things are very meaningful, and that gives you a different perspective on how you operate your business now, because you see what customers want and their concerns and their needs and what they want to do with their life. So it's a lot different than just producing a product. You're helping with solutions.
Yeah, you kind of, put a lot all in one little sentence or two sentences there, George, and I appreciate you bringing up the reasons for us starting the company. But I can tell you with adversity comes a lot of empathy and understanding of others that, I didn't have before. My wife and I went through a lot of stuff. And that definitely helps in every aspect of what I do every day, what our company's all about. And partially some of the advice that I'd love to give if anybody would listen to anything I have to say, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Well, what is some of the stuff that you've learned over the years that you do give advice on, or how would you talk to people? Like, let's just use the example that we were talking about before about the racing situations. You have a bad race, you blame it on somebody else, like those types of things. I mean, these types of things happen in every day, like Billy was just saying about traffic, or a flat tire. Like, what's your advice?
On the racing side of things, there's one quote that I heard not too long ago. It was pretty badass. And it's when you have a problem in racing, and let's just take off-road, for instance, let's say, I don't know, the power steering goes out. A really bad driver will quit. A mediocre driver will complain about it. And a really good driver won't even say anything, and he'll just make do and finish the race. And I think that has a lot to do and has meaning in everybody's life, maybe that's not racing. And I think everybody should try to make the best of everything that they have and work through it. And they'll be the one that's the best at anything that they're doing if they're good at that. And that kind of comes into maybe, my advice to a lot of people. There's so many aspects to that, right? Is it, how do you succeed in business? How do you succeed in life? And then really what is success? What's everybody's measure of success, right? Well, I think that, positive thoughts and a positive attitude kind of encompass so much that people take for granted. And that's kind of my overall piece of advice is if you can do that, then everything seems to become a lot easier. I'll give you a little context. So, my whole life I tried to make money or have a business in something that I love to do. And everybody knows that if you do something you love, then you never work a day in your life, right? So I tried to emulate that. And I failed miserably over and over and over and over again. And throughout all those failures, I learned a lot. Yep. And I was still having a good time because I was doing what I liked, even though I wasn't very good at it. And I think eventually, once you get all of that wisdom from your failures and learn from them, then eventually success comes. It's just a natural progression of going through that process.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we talked about before, actually, and some of the stuff that Billy was saying is, I don't know how to put it, but you don't know what you have until you actually don't have it or you get it, like you achieve it, right? Like, it's really, really like that happens a lot, Tristan. It's happened to you too, right? Like where you just grow into something and you're like, wow, I learned how to do that. Like you have to fail at it before you can be good at it, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, maybe not always, but the failures definitely make you appreciate the success more.
Hey, I don't think Derek Jeter is a professional baseball player just right off the bat.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean? Like so it really, really brings a lot to understanding, Justin, because when you see social media, it looks like everybody's a professional right away. Like it looks like they're doing so good, but that's not how it works at all.
I got a bone to pick with social media, man. And pardon me while I get on my soapbox, but it has something to do with your positive mentality and positive attitude in life, because you can't have an unbelievably positive attitude if you're worried about what people think of you on social media.
Yep.
And on social media, honestly, I think it's poisonous, because if you spend a ton of time on it, then you're looking for others' admiration and acceptance in what you're doing. Then you're never going to concentrate on what your goals are and what the things you can accomplish if you just thought about what you need to do today and do it well and do it tomorrow and the next day and the next day until it works. But if you spend half the day on social media worrying about what everybody else thinks, you've lost.
Dude,
and those people who might be jealous of you or don't even know you, they win. So I would highly, really, really suggest you just stay off that and you keep your mentality up and you just don't care what others think. We could have quotes from so many people, Socrates, Aristotle, I can go on and on and on. But one of the coolest people that has one of the coolest quotes ever is Coco Chanel. Chanel, right? But, she said that I don't care what you think about me because I never think about you. And there's a lot to that. If you can actually spend your time on positive things, everything will end up working out.
Dude, that's insane. And Billy, you were actually, you agree with that completely. I don't know if we can hear you, Billy. I can't hear Billy. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about that, though, right, Tristan? Like, and first, stay on social media when the Dirt Life Show is live on Monday nights at 5 o'clock. So please keep watching the Dirt Life Show. But Justin's right. Like that. Don't hold yourself to that. Only hold yourself accountable what you can hold yourself accountable for, right, Tristan?
I mean, I think that a lot about social media, and I have for a long time. It's like nowadays, right? So many businesses revolve around influencers and ads and everything else on social media just because that's where everybody spends so much of their time.
Yes.
But at the same time, you have like this false sense of gratification where you could be literally anybody you want to be on there. And yeah, you'll get people that are like anti it, but even if you're doing bad things or in the wrong, you'll get people that tell you you're right.
Yeah.
Which I think some people maybe
that probably happens a lot with younger people too. Some of the older people can probably see through it.
Right.
And what about like if you're in a situation, Justin, like a business situation, for some of the people that may not race, they may want to get into racing, but they have their own business. Maybe they're a small entrepreneur. Maybe they have a plumbing company or something. And they are people that have to find solutions. They're people that have to support their employees. Like, what kind of suggestions or advice do you give them to be able to stay in a positive mindset, to be able to push through these things? Because that positive mindset is going to be the winning key to their business.
George, do you mean that, keeping that mindset in while you're trying to feed everybody that's working for you and still go racing? Is that your specific question, or how do you be successful in the business?
I think let's take out the racing portion of it, because I think it falls into both categories, right? Like, if you're not a racer and you have problems every day at work, or if you're owning your own business, how do you keep your head up? How do you keep pushing forward so that you can get past all of these little things that happen? Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, or even people that are just trying to work their way up the ladder in the corporate environment, that they just give up, or they just sit there at their cubicle and don't worry about it. But I would like to see them do better.
There's a lot to that, George. I think maybe the first part of it is to pick something that you like. You don't have to have your own business doing what you like. You can work for somebody else and make one hell of a living and love what you do. So first, if you've got that, then you're better than 50% of the world out there. But I'll give you a story from my past. In 2008, I lost everything that I had. I had 100% broke. Start from scratch, and was working in my 3-car garage doing whatever fab work I could do. And I would even say that I was worse off than broke, because I owed a ton of people money in 2008. And so I started from below the bottom. And for the first years, I didn't to get anywhere. I was just, I'd wake up every single morning early at 5 o'clock and work all day long until I went to bed, because I knew that's what had to happen to make bills. But I was preoccupied with people that I thought maybe had it out for me. I was preoccupied with people that I thought maybe had a hand in my failure. And for 2 years, all I thought about was how I was going to get back at them. And that's 100% poison. It will ruin your life. It will ruin everything you're doing. It will take positive things that you're up to every day and ruin them. And my advice is to not ever let that set. The second that I realized that that time and that energy that I was devoting to brain kind, or whatever you want to call it, was holding me back from any stuff, any. And I let it. 100%. It's out. Out of moving forward. And from that moment on, it seemed like everything that I'm into, actually, from a monetary standpoint, plenty of work to do. Was make back, and then everybody back. That was much put into growth. Then, through tragedy with my wife's accident, and I'm starting to work on you to make them better, to help her. That took off. I think that it would have taken off. It didn't have the mindset of letting go of what people think, not preoccupied every single day, positive and putting forward and momentum. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen if you didn't have it. That's me. That's my story back then. I don't think that had that epiphany happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same thing that we were talking about before. Justin, if you can move the phone a little bit, the audio's a little choppy, so that we could get a little bit better audio from you. But that is exactly what people need to go through, and they need to understand that, right? Nobody is ever going to have a flawless life, Tristan. Nobody, right? And when you go through these things, as long as you're accountable and you can learn from them, like what Justin was, I think you're going to come out on the flip side being a better person and a better, well, in his case, a better businessman.
Absolutely.
Dude, those things make a huge difference. Have you gone through situations in your life where you come out of it and you're like, dude, fuck, I was just down in the dumps, but now you know what? I got it. Like, I can handle some shit now.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Yeah, but it sounds like you might not want to talk about it.
It depends on what it is, but like what it has to do with, like if it has to do with business, if it has to do with, I've definitely had the ups and downs in all of them.
Yeah, but it makes you a stronger person on the flip side, right?
Absolutely.
Just as long as you can deal with that stuff. I appreciate you being so. Oh, look at that picture right there. Did you see that YXZ right behind us right there on Justin's left?
Oh yeah.
I think I know that guy. Thanks for putting that out, Justin. Appreciate that, man. So, Justin, we only have a couple more minutes left here. Yeah, look at that bad boy. So that was one cool story, man. That I appreciate you guys supporting my racing efforts too, especially too. Like, actually, that's a good thing to talk about real quick, Justin. Is what was your perception when a dude that can barely walk comes up to you and says, "Hey, will you support my racing program?" Like, how do you have an open perception to accept a proposal like that?
The fact that you even were able to overcome what you did, the work and effort that you put into it, your mindset when you walked in and we actually met for the first time and you shook my hand, it was positive the whole time. And that made it easy. I mean, it wasn't even, what you had done or what you're going to do that we were trying to get, to be a part of and help with. It was you and your infectious personality at the time, honestly. And I think if people walk in to the first time they ever shake someone's hand and they're in a good mood because they are happy about life or everything that they're doing, it really is something that others can feel and sense, and they want to be a part of it.
Dude, that's such good advice right there. Just that little statement, like, because how many times, Tristan, have you gone to a party, to a race or whatever it is, and somebody's stressed out and they're not hyped up and they don't do good that day, or they shake your hand and you're like, yeah, I could, like, I'll go away. Like, I'll go somewhere somebody's more, fruitful or more happy. Like, and somebody comes up to you and they're hyped and they go out there and they kill it. And like, it's just a different mindset and a whole different environment.
Oh yeah. People's attitudes are definitely infectious, whether that's good or bad.
Well, I think it's always going to be good, right? Because it changes you and your mindset. It changes their mindset.
Well,
It changes.
Yeah.
Dude, that's such a good advice to give, Justin, and to understand. And well, I'm glad that I was like that when you first said it, because there's been a million times that we've been together. Like when I was just testing with you guys last time, I was not happy because we had some failures, but I was able to be accountable for it, and we're working forward.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? There's another thing that everybody, some people talk about, and some people don't, is you don't quit. And that's you personally, George. You don't quit. I mean, you've got a million examples of where, you've had life knock you down and you never quit. Others should take that to heart, and they should never, ever let something knock them down. You're the one that is the best example of all of us, I think.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I think there's tons of examples, right? Like you didn't quit. You kept pushing forward because you're passionate about being in off-road and motorsports. And you're obviously doing good helping other people get their shocks done and things like that. Tristan doesn't quit. There was tons of times when he couldn't even finish this build right here behind him, but he had partners and he had people that helped him and he was able to get it going. And I'm sure at the races, when you race dirt bikes, the same kinds of things happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just keep pushing forward. Yeah.
Along George, there's, if underneath this umbrella of positivity, if you can let everything go behind you that's negative, to me, that's number one. Two, stay off social media. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you. It only matters of what you think of yourself moving forward with that attitude that is infectious, like we had talked about, and brings others along. You don't want to waste your time. You don't have much. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's, 24 in a day, 168 hours in a week, 7 something a month, and 8,700 hours a year. And, we burn it. You're not going to get it back and you can't buy it. So spend your time every minute in a positive way if you can. Yeah. Don't give up, like we had talked about. And success, decide what your goals are, because everybody's version of success is different. If you just want money, that's fine. That could be your goal. If you want to be famous, you want to be in a powerful position, all those things, that's fine. Whatever fits you, whatever you do, you don't care what anybody else thinks.
Yep.
But to me, to my personal measure of success is how many people I can lift up or we can lift up.
Dude.
And I don't think it starts at like the customer level, but it goes all the way down to, if you've got kids or if you got best friends or anyone around you that you can possibly help. And it's not a monetary thing. It's just help them through what they've got going on. Give them the advice to get them over the hump so they're successful. If you have jealous friends because you're successful, you need new friends. I want all my friends to be successful because then I can hang out with cool rich guys. I want that forever. No jealousy whatsoever. You got to keep that in mind. Lift others up.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. Fantastic words, Justin. And we're just at the 20-minute mark. So, hey, thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight. And I can't wait to see you again, dude, and shake your hand again and get some of that positivity going back between both of us. So thank you so much.
We'll see you guys soon. Help somebody out.
Thanks, Justin. Dude, it's crazy to see all of these different people, right? Like when you understand their mindsets and you see, and again, like not success in a monetary value or money. They have success in life because they're happy.
Right.
Right?
Mental success.
Both Billy and Justin are completely different environments. They're completely different businesses, but they're both happy.
Right.
Like that's just insane. Like that just goes to show how much that your mindset and your perception of things can actually change your whole life, right, Tristan?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to see if Hunter Miller is on. Yeah, we're going to get Hunter on. Hunter is definitely part of that never give up attitude, man. He has been through some serious races, and one of the races was just happened, actually, over there in Texas called the Texas 12-hour race. Hunter Miller, are you there?
I'm there. What's happening, guys?
What's up, buddy? How are you? Thanks for joining us, dude. It is insane out here in Central California. It's wild today.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Dude, there's a massive storm happening right outside the shop here. It's crazy.
It's funny because it's crazy for us, right? But like somebody in Texas or Florida where they get rain all the time, they wouldn't think anything of this.
Yeah, true. Well, this is actually quite a bit, dude.
It is a lot.
All right, so Hunter, we were actually talking with Billy Grotto and Justin Smith and obviously Tristan about different ways to look at your mindset and to be able to push through life in general, right? And I was trying to see how I could relate it back to racing, and I think you're one of the perfect examples to talk about it. But two things that I want to talk about, or two subjects that I want to talk about with you today. First, I want to talk about the Texas 12-hour race that we just completed a little bit ago. And I think you guys came out. You were victorious, or who won? I forgot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep. So you guys were victorious, and when you got off the track, you could barely see because you had so much mud and just crud in your eyes. But that happened probably, I don't know, let's just say 8 hours, 6 hours into it, and you pushed through and never gave up the whole time. And the second thing I want to talk about is when you're starting out as a beginning racer and all the things that you have to go through to be able to get to a professional level, and what, all the bullshit, right? And all of the things that you have to endure. So let's talk about the 12-hour race first, and then we'll go back.
well, first off,
Oh, crap, we can't hear him.
how about now?
It's a little bit better now.
Oh.
All right.
Well, it rained at the 12th, rained in California, one common denominator.
Yeah.
Can you see?
It's all right. It seems like it's a little sketchy, and I don't know if it's on your end or our end. I would usually blame the caller, but today I think we could probably take a little bit of that blame on us too. We're accountable, right, Tristan?
Absolutely.
Well, let's see how good we can do, Hunter. Let's just try it.
Yeah, so, all that.
Maybe try to see if you can move or get off the Wi-Fi or something. Maybe just use your cell phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm on, actually.
Maybe just move a
About
little
that.
bit.
Is that better?
It seems a little bit better. We can hear you.
Okay. We'll try it. But
There you
yeah,
go.
we just
we
finished.
got you.
I just had to stand here super awkward and hold my phone in front.
Yeah, it's working better.
So yeah, we wrapped up the 12-hour, and like you said, it was one of the gnarliest races I've ever done in my entire life. About, I don't know, they were calling for rain all day, and I woke up the next morning and it hadn't rained yet, and I was like, oh, I missed this. It's gonna be an awesome day. Like that, about 4 hours in, it started dumping. It was bad. It got to the point where I literally couldn't see, at all. I tried, Kyle, I went out for 3 hours. Kyle went out for like 6 hours. I was going to try to run the last 4 or so. And I got about 2 in and literally could not see. I had to stop halfway through the pits because my vision was just like closing in. It sucked, man. I knew Kyle was in just as much pain as I was, but, kudos to him. He ran and hopped in the car and finished it off for us. But yeah, the whole time after that, I couldn't open my eyes for like 3 days. I'd scratched my cornea so bad that
Hey, maybe see if you can go in another room or something to get a little bit better connection. But yeah, so what Hunter's talking about is literally it's a never give up attitude, right, Tristan? I don't know how to explain it, but imagine having I don't know, cutting your arm open and then just sticking something in there and dragging, just grinding it in your arm the whole time while you're trying to finish the next 6 hours of your race or whatever it is. How gnarly is that? And he was basically doing that with his eyeballs. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, but that mentality is you can't buy that.
No, absolutely not. That is, yeah, I don't know. I really, without somebody actually experiencing it, and I haven't experienced anything that gnarly, but I could only imagine.
But you've been through stuff where you want to finish a moto on your dirt bike, right? And you hurt yourself or your bike's bogging or something. How do you tell yourself not to quit?
Honestly, that is a good question. I mean,
you don't know how to quit.
Yeah, seriously.
You just don't have that bone in you, huh? Put the mic a little closer. Yeah, so it just doesn't work for you. Like, you don't ever think that? Like, your mindset is already past that?
I mean, no, I've definitely thought it sometimes, but then realized that can't quit.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Hunter. How do you tell somebody that? If I walked up to you at the end of the race and been like, yeah, man, I had to pull off because I couldn't see anymore.
I would say I get it. You know, that's not the way we're built, obviously. You can't explain the don't give up attitude. It's just a part of who you are, you know? So I don't think you can explain it, but you can definitely understand when people have had enough, you know?
Yeah, true. But I do think that maybe if you can't explain it, maybe you can teach it, right? You can lead by example, like what you do. You know what I mean? And there was a bunch of people that saw you after the races. I followed up with you, asked you how you were doing because I was so impressed, right? You didn't do anything. You didn't come up to me and try to give me a motivational speech or anything. Your actions spoke louder than your words. You showed me how badass you were and what you did. And that inspired me to make sure that I never gave up for the rest of the week, right? Like, I feel like that is one of the things that you can show people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you try to lead by example, for sure. You know, I mean, the thought of quitting never entered my mind during that race. You know, of course, we got to the point where you physically could not go around the track because I couldn't open my eyes. But the idea of quitting just wasn't in it. You know, and it's kind of been like that my entire career. You know, I grew up racing motocross. That's how we even got into side by sides. And I've had a lot of big injuries during my career, starting from the time I was 16 all the way through the point when I quit racing motocross. The first one was one of the worst for sure. We have a motocross track at our house, and we used to have local races out there. And it was in 2001, and I can't even remember the reason why I was. But for some reason, there was a 2-day race here right after the race on first. And guys were out prepping the track and came over a step up. And, of course, worst fear, there's and landed right in the bucket. Steered the quad off lengthwise, you know, everything above the steering stem. And I got so lucky because the top of the bucket right in my jaw and completely shattered my jaw. I've got a metal plate, but you know, I'm so lucky because had the bucket been that much lower, you know, sitting in the middle of it. So, you know, crushed my jaw, broke my leg. I flighted out of there for about a week. And it's pretty bad.
Hey, try to walk around again.
No. Getting bad again.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just like doesn't like standing still. Your phone needs some motivation, dude.
Yeah, maybe I walk in circles around my bedroom here.
But dude, that's so gnarly. Like, for even me, like a guy like me, to hear you talking about that, like I've been hurt a million times. But when I hear and understand like that, other people go through those situations, it's inspiring to me to understand that you were in that much pain and you still push through it.
Yeah. It took me about 6 months to heal. I had of course, the rod in the plate in my jaw and a rod in my tib fib. And, oh man, I healed up from that, started racing again. First local race I went to, bike cut out on the face of a triple and landed so hard and I broke my leg. Both tib and fib again. Literally it wasn't the first time riding. I went to Macon, Georgia for the first national. I was in the B class at the time and actually won the race and then went to the local race the following weekend and broke my leg again. Tib and fib, had to get a rod in my tibia. That wasn't enough. So got a staph infection from that and had to deal with that. Was out the entire season basically. Came back in 2005 and was racing. No, I'm sorry, in 2003. Did really well in the A class and Pro-Am class. 2004 was the so-so year. Then 2005, I was feeling really good and riding really well. Second national, crashed in the start, broke my leg again. You know, every time it's a different spot, but every time it was a major break with surgeries and hardware being put in. And it was tough, man. And then raced 06, 07, and 08. And yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, 06. Where was it? It was at Bud's Creek. Again, riding really well that year and crashed and broke my femur.
Dude.
Yeah.
Talk about adversity.
Cody had broke his femur 2 weeks before that at Gatorback. So it was rough, man. But like you said, I never had even the thought of quitting. It sucked at the time. But, had I given up, I wouldn't be where I'm today.
Yeah.
Like all the little decisions you make in your life, you don't realize that how big impact you have on your life. But you quit.
Yeah, those little decisions do make a big difference. And so that's actually something that Tristan actually put in a social media post lately, is talking about putting value in every little choice that you do, right? It's not like you have to understand every single little choice you're going to do.
Yeah, don't
right?
overthink it.
But choices make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's some of the advice that you would give then, Tristan? Because we're faced with 6,900 choices a day, right? Just so many. But how do you negotiate all those to make sure that at the end of the day, you're satisfied, you're accountable for all the stuff that you've done, and that you're really pushing forward, you see the end goals?
One thing I always try and do is I always try and think about how my choices won't just affect me, but affect other people.
That's super good.
I feel like that's really important, because something I try and tell a lot of people is something that may be such a small choice for you or a small impact on your life could have a huge impact on somebody else's, or be a huge choice and maybe they don't even get to make it. You're the one making it.
And can you give us any examples of that, or you just kind of just see it and try to negotiate each one of those choices and be a little bit better on every single time that you make a choice?
I mean, I could think of so many, but I was thinking about the other day is, say somebody makes a choice to run a red light or whatever, and there's another car going through. That other car had no...
and they have a family or whatever.
Right. They have no anything, and then that person's choice affects not just that one person or just them or the whole family or whatever, but also all of their friends and literally everybody.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's a pretty heavy example, but that's the same mentality or the same understanding that you do in a team environment, right? It doesn't matter who you are in any type of racing environment, you have to have support. And those support come from sponsors. Those support come from your team members, your crew chief, your family, every single person, right? So if you have the same mindset, Hunter, that Tristan is just talking about, and you can decide and help other people first and then think about you and the end goal, I think you have a massive advantage compared to the people that don't have that mindset.
Oh, 100%. I mean, free decision.
I think you're gonna have to walk around again, dude, or change rooms again.
Man, my Wi-Fi is usually pretty good. I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah, it could totally be us, dude.
It could very well be us. Yeah.
No, that's okay, but let's say
Man, we can't barely hear him.
I know.
No. Let me try going back outside and see what that does.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit better now. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes it's not the Wi-Fi. Sometimes it's where you hold the phone, just so it doesn't connect with your speaker. But yeah, keep trying.
I mean, we are in the middle of a barn in a storm over here.
Dude, you had decent internet though.
Yeah, not wrong. That door's still open.
Is it a little bit better?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. We can hear you pretty decent now. Yeah, so in a team environment, making sure that you're making the right choices for everybody makes a big difference.
No, that's exactly right. And I don't know what you heard or didn't hear, but you have to think about how it affects everything, not just you. You do something that affects somebody in a negative way, well, that's going to affect you down the line. If I don't treat the guys that come to KOH and are helping us out correctly, they're not going to want to do as good a job for me as they might otherwise.
Dude, that's a really good thing to say. So the choices that you make not only affect other people, but they affect other people's mindsets. And then adversely, it comes back and turns back around on you, especially in team environments, right? So if you're the guy that's coming off the track and off the first moto and you throw your helmet in the truck, then nobody else is going to want to be positive for the next moto.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, I deal with it daily, honestly. I mean, I work with my brother and we bicker every single day. But we have to sit there and think about if we're sitting there screaming and yelling at each other, it takes morale of the entire shop down, you know? So you have to think about those things and how it affects everybody else's mind, for sure.
Dude, it's wild to think about that. And like, have you been in team environments, Tristan, where you have to be the guy that helps everybody else out, or like be the motivational person? Like, and I don't mean this like you're out there talking like a motivational speech, but it'd be like, hey, bro, it looks like you're having a rough day. Let's go talk real quick, and then we'll get you out of this funk. Like, have you done that with your friends and family and stuff?
Yeah, but like one of my friends in particular, she calls them the Sunday scaries, where she's just like on Sundays for whatever reason she'll just get depressed and down, and I'm like the person that she always calls to just joke and make her feel better or whatever. Yeah. Which I try to be as often as I can, like have that mindset, you know. But I mean,
what happens if I give you're down? Can you guys both talk about it together and like lift each other up?
Not usually.
Yeah, so you just got to wait it out. So that's a good point, though, Hunter, is like you do have bad races. You do have bad times. You do have bad portions in life. But what you do with those things, and as long as you can understand those things, you can make it way better in the end.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And that's kind of where my wife comes in. We met when
Hey, will you walk around again?
I'm trying, I promise. But yeah, you know, she used to travel all over the country with us racing, and we were on our way to a race one time, and she had a panic attack. Had no idea what was going on, and you know, I was a 20-year-old kid, and obviously didn't understand what I do now about, you know, anxiety and things like that. And still, you know, even as I got older, never really understood it until I got into, you know, real life, basically, especially this year with all the pressure I put on myself getting ready for KOH and everything, and just the anxiety that comes with it and being overwhelmed. But, you know, she's always there to kind of talk me through it because she's lived it herself, you know, and it's just one of those things. It's the people you surround yourself with that, you know, if you're around positive people, you're going to be positive and have a good outlook on life and the goal you're trying to accomplish. And if you're around negative people, that's going to rub off on you too. So I think that's one of the most important things, one of those positive people that help to bring people up, get people through tough.
And that's exactly what you're talking about, Tristan, is that you're trying to do that for not only that friend, but I'm sure a lot of other people.
Yeah, try to. Because it, like he said, definitely if you surround yourself with negative people, no matter how positive you are, eventually they're going to rub off on you.
Dude, yeah. It's like that freaking, what was it, Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore? He's always walking around. But yeah, like I totally get it, man. And I try to be as positive as I can. But dude, there's some days, honestly, I don't even want to wake up because like I look at my situation and I'm like, dude, I am hurting so bad. Like every single bone in my body hurts, right? Like sitting here right now is a good example. I have so much metal in my body and it's freaking freezing, right? Like it's so cold right now that I feel like there's ice cubes in my bones. This 16-inch rod that I have in my hip feels like a ice dagger in there right now, right? Like, but I don't feel like that's the way to look at it. I feel like, dude, we got the show going. There's a massive storm happening outside. Some people can't even get back to their house, and we're able to talk with Hunter in the middle of Texas. We just talked with Billy in Florida, Justin in Arizona, and we're able to talk about all this cool stuff. Like, that's the way to look at it, right?
And imagine you'd gone down right here earlier.
Oh, yeah, dude, and it's slippery as fuck back there. I almost ate shit earlier. But yeah, right. So like surrounding yourself with good people is a massive, massive influence. And actually, let's talk about that a little bit, Hunter. You have KOH coming up. How do you assemble a team, or how would I assemble a team if I'm Johnny Racer, it's my first time going to KOH, and I want to just complete the race. Am I taking my family? Am I picking the most positive people, mechanics, all of this stuff? Like, what's the best way to do it?
Man, that's where we started. When we went for the first time in 2020, it was literally just all people that were friends in racing, and family. And we didn't know what a big undertaking it was at the time, so we were super unprepared compared to what we know now, that's for sure. But, that's definitely the starting point, are the people that have been there all along, that want to be a part of that and help you be successful. You definitely can't just go out. Yeah, Pro Eagle start good jacks. That is a good starting point. I don't think we brought maybe 2 jacks between all of us the first, but we're deciding which pit to leave it at. But it's just starting with the people that have been there all along. Nobody just starts out wanting to do something like that on a whim, but when you set your mind to that goal and bring the people that have helped you the whole time.
Yeah, and you want to associate yourself with all of those people. Hey, Hunter, we can let you go. We just got Lindsay Geyser on right now too. What's up, Lindsay? How are you?
I am good. How are you?
We're doing awesome. So I just want to say thank you very much to Hunter. Hey, we'll see you at KOH, buddy. Hope you get to kick some serious ass this year.
I appreciate it. We'll see you there.
All right, later. Thank you very much, bud.
Yep, have a good.
All right, LG. So Lindsay Geyser Creative. She helps a lot of people in the off-road industry, as well as having her family builds trophy trucks. And it's pretty cool to see Lindsay kind of paving her own way. One of the things that I know helps Lindsay the most with the success that she has is the way that she associates with people. She does exactly what Hunter just mentioned, and she helps build people up. She supports other businesses. She supports other brands, and that is pretty infectious. So thanks, Lindsay, for joining us talking about these awesome subjects that we're talking about at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate all the stuff that you do. What are some of the things that you do on a daily basis to try to keep your mindset right, with keeping deadlines and all the stressful stuff that happens, but to still be such a positive person and a positive influence on the companies and people around you?
Yeah, so honestly, last year behind the scenes was really rough for me. And I kind of got to a point because work is so important to me. Like, I'm here from 7 to 7 every day at the league. And like, I love working. I love what I do. But last year I kind of got burned out on it and just got to a point where I was like, I knew that I loved what I was doing, but I would just I was burned out and I was just tired of doing it. And so I kind of had to refocus and figure out what made me get into it, what made me love it. And the big part of it was just finding a balance between, rather than just being here all day, every day, just knocking stuff out and not focusing on my personal health and my personal life. It was rough for a little bit. So I got back to that and remembered why I did it and how lucky I was. There would be days where I was out in the middle of Montana, shooting these crazy cars with these awesome people, and this is my job. I should be grateful. And so it's definitely not as easy as Justin was saying. Social media, it's tricky because not everything's how it seems, but yeah, just finding that balance between work and life and trying to help people. So
yeah, I agree. That balance is pretty heavy. Mr. Jeff Geyser, I don't know if you know him or not, but he said, please ask her how great her parents are.
Oh, they're pretty good.
But yeah, so there's two things right there, right? Is first of all, the support mechanism of the frames. I don't know if you can hear it, Lindsay, but it honestly sounds like we're about to get blown over by a tornado outside. So
Twister's coming.
Yeah, I think Twister is really coming. So if all of a sudden it goes dark, just wait for my text to let you know that we're okay. Okay.
Send help.
Yeah, send help. If you just see a tidal wave coming through here. But yeah, so there's a lot to what you're saying though, right? And understanding the balance, I think, is a really, really crucial point. Tristan kind of brushed on it a little bit earlier, but let me give an example, and then I'm going to ask Tristan the same thing. I've been working my tail off to do this Dirt Life show thing for about 3 years now. I think it's just over 3 years old. And I haven't got any time to myself. So I took a day and a half to 2 days off over the holidays. And I cannot tell you how much those basically 48 hours did to recharge my batteries. Like I swear, like I was ready to throw in the towel before that. I was so upset. Do you ever get like that, Tristan? Like you ever just be like, dude, I can't.
I mean, yes, I think anybody does. If they say they don't, they're lying.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I see so many people that are like, work. They never have fun. All they do is focus on work, and they're like, got to pay my bills, got to do this, got to do that. But then one day they're gone, and it's like,
I think it's hard in our industry too because our work is fun. Like what we do is fun, and so I think a lot of the time we forget, like, just because we're having fun all the time, we're still working. So I think you have to have that break and have some kind of other hobby to get away from.
Yeah, she's right. Yeah, that's why I take so much pride in being able to go ride my bicycle, like, because that just like gets me away from everything. Or I guess eating tacos.
big taco guy.
That's definitely a hobby.
Yeah, I've learned everything I know about tacos from Lindsay. We'll give her that credit. But no, you're right though. Like, how do you do that, Tristan? Like, if somebody comes up and talks to you and is just like, dude, I'm over it.
Like overwork?
Yeah, just like I can't do it. You say, okay, well, what's the deal? Like, do you need to go out? Like, you want to go have a night on the town? You want to go like for a dirt bike ride?
I mean, whatever it is that person loves. But like for me, sometimes somebody's like down or they feeling stressed or overworked. For me, flying was always that thing. Like I would just go in the afternoon to the airport, fly for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. And it was just like nothing else mattered.
That's really cool. Hey, Lindsay, by the way, if you need a pilot, we got a pilot right here next to us.
Perfect.
But that is true, right? So you give yourself the time to recharge or to clear your head or whatever it is. Lindsay, you must do that a lot. I don't know if you show it a lot on your social media, but that's really cool that you're able to do that because otherwise you just be working all the time.
Yeah. For me, Baja is a big one too, and some of it is work, but like going to Baja, I feel like it's a reset for me. It was tough because last year I didn't get to go very much. And I think that was like honestly a big part of me having such a rough year was like happy place, like where I could reset and just figure it out. So, but yeah, get away, a hobby, something definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's true. Are you able to translate that and to be able to share that with some of your friends? I know that a lot of the stuff that you do, I've seen on your social media, and I know you personally, but you try to lift everybody else up, right? Like Tristan, if I texted her and I said, "Hey, can you help me with something?" There's never a no answer. She's just like, "Yeah, absolutely, I'll do that." But that takes a lot of time, a lot of resources from you. So how do you keep, the mindset to be able to keep helping people, Linz?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something in me that like disappointing people or letting people down is like a no for me. So I guess it's just striving for that. And honestly, I don't mind. Like, I love to work with people and like help other people with their talent, like show other people that. So that's just something that I enjoy and it works out because it's what I do for a living as well.
So that actually brings up a good point, Tristan, is that when you help people and you see other people succeed, it actually should give you a positive influence. It should make you feel good.
Oh, totally.
So those are one thing that I definitely need to say is that when you're out on the racetrack, actually somebody just said, will Lindsay race again? SoCal Craig.
It would be fun. I loved racing. I also love watching from the helicopter. So it's kind of a win-win either way.
Yeah, Lindsay's a big trophy truck girl, though, dude. That'd be a pretty resource-intense program if Lindsay's going to get back in the car. So, SoCal Craig, if you can come up with a couple $1 million, just pass it Lindsay's way and just let her get out there on the track. But yeah, so bringing other people up, I always think about this because to me, this is a very difficult subject. bringing other people up is difficult because sometimes it takes a little bit of power out of you, so to speak. Like think about it as a video game. When you're bringing other people up or you're using energy, it's taking away something from you. Sometimes people feel like that, right? Sometimes it's bad for them. But what you got to understand is that it only takes a little bit for you and gives back a lot to them. So when they come back and they give it back to you, it starts this building block process that keeps elevating everybody around. Yourself, the next person. And then by the time a year comes around and you, like Lindsay, she has had a tough year last year, and all of these building blocks happen, you're in a totally different place, right, Linz?
Yeah, for sure. And I think a good example of that, like with the passing blocks, is the impact that he had on crazy amount of people. And he was just a good guy, living a good life, doing cool shit. And he like had this huge positive impact on everybody that knew him. And so I think that that's like a good example of like his video that posted it. But that like creative, live good life. It's so simple, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, totally. You broke up there a little bit, but I got most of it. And what Lindsay was saying was she was just saying that it's pretty simple, like Ken Block said, like, be creative, help other people, but don't be an asshole. Like,
Right.
Like that means so much, right? Like when you talk about that stuff, because truthfully, like there's really no reason to live in that asshole vibe or that negative impact.
No. It brings you down and everybody around you.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah.
And when we talk about this, or we relate it back to off-road or racing and different things like that, or even going out riding with your friends on trails and stuff, it makes a huge impact on everything. Sponsors don't want to be a part of your program if you're a turd, right? People don't want to be around you if you're a turd. Your crew chief, all your mechanics and everybody, they don't want to help you. So even like Lynn's, like if SoCal Craig gave you $2 million and you started your own trophy truck program, you would probably start with some positivity because you'd be so pumped with $2 million, but you'd be stoked to hire all of your favorite people, right? That are going to uplift the program.
Oh yeah. That's what, like, whenever anyone asks, like, what would you do if you won the lottery or had $1 million, like RJ and I always say, like, we could buy stuff for all of our friends because it's no fun if you're just enjoying it by yourself. Like, share the wealth and everybody has a good time. It's not on your own.
Yeah, exactly. John Huppert said, yeah, and no one is guaranteed tomorrow, right? Yeah, so that's a massive thing. Like, you kind of mentioned this actually off air when we were driving around in the Ranger earlier, Tristan, that you guys would go out and you had a track out here on the ranch, and you guys would go out and you would ride together, right? Like, I know from experience because when we also used to ride dirt bikes together as kids, there was never not a smile on our face, right? If somebody fell down, we would go help them up and we would throw our bike down and we would get them up. Like, you learn a lot of things just unknowingly as a kid, right? But you guys went through that same process too, to fill each other with joy.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny, like you get anything you get new, right? Like whether it's your dirt bike or whatever, you're just terrified the first time you're gonna scratch it or whatever may happen.
Oh, when
right?
you get a new helmet, you got to drop it in the dirt.
That too, yeah, right. But it's like when somebody gets hurt or whatever, the last thing you're thinking about is your bike or anything about it, and you just drop it and help whoever.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point to bring up too. Is I don't know who just said that, but John Huppert said you're never guaranteed tomorrow, right? So no matter what you do, if you can live your life like the way that Lindsay does, the way that Tristan does, the way that I try to, you're going to understand that laying on your deathbed, it's so much better because you can be happy with the things that you did. Nobody's going to give a fuck if you went out and made $1 million. They're only going to care if you were a nice person. Like, that's it. Yeah, Lindsay, I'm so happy with the way that you live your life. It really it's infectious to all the people that are around you. Are there some times when you're just like, sitting at your desk and you just like, man, I can't do it today. Like, just, I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta sometimes take that break, but for the most part, it's good. Like, good. I'm grateful. make you that upset.
The reason that I asked that is mostly because there are some people that have, trouble doing that. And I've actually received a bunch of personal messages, even from people that watch the Dirt Life show or just fans. They have trouble getting out of that funk, right? Whether it's a chemical imbalance in their body or an illness or whatever it is. What are the things that you do to be able to get yourself or to push past that? Do you think with a positive mindset? Do you call a friend like what Tristan's friend does with him? Or what are some examples that you can help other people with?
Well, I think it's kind of what we talked about earlier, what you guys were talking about earlier is like surrounding yourself with positive people has such a huge impact. When you're down and ask for help or whatever. So I think that's a big part in positive and remind you everything's good.
It does make a big difference. And what I'm getting, Tristan, is like that if you just really try to live in that positive mindset. Yeah? Kind of what you're getting to, or no?
Try to. I mean, I'll tell everyone, and anybody that like truly knows me will see my Instagram posts. Some of them are like, love your advice, love this, like all this stuff, but I'm terrible at taking my own advice.
Really?
But I'll own up to it. Like, I'm like, yeah, I know, but sometimes I'll try and sometimes I'm good at it, but at the same time, I'll still share that stuff and share that advice, not to be like hypocritical, because I know a lot of people.
Life.
Right.
Yeah. So like, okay, I guess that's a good point to bring up too, Linz, is that realism has to be understood too, right? Like, because if you don't understand that realism, you can't understand that you're making a bad choice or a good choice, right? So you need to be able to understand the realism or the reality of what's going on around you. So if you're in a shit mood all day, then understand that you're in a shit mood. And if I come up to you and I'm all positive, just be like, hey, you know what, George? I don't know if I can, be that positive today. Can we do this tomorrow? Like, is it cool if we reschedule our meeting? We have lunch tomorrow, whatever it is, because if you're real with me, then I understand that. Or I could say, you know what? No problem. Do you need help? Would you like to talk about it? Whatever it is, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that that's a really good point to bring up, Linz, is when people can be real, because that social media stuff that Justin Smith was just talking about, a lot of that stuff can get bypassed. And I don't want to see that happen, especially with young kids. I want to be able to see that people can understand and open up and be real, because even if you want to talk about it relating back into a racing environment, if you don't talk about the things that are happening in real life, you're never going to make progress. And those go back to you as a person.
Yeah, for sure. And I think social media is so powerful, so dangerous at that point. It's incredible, like this stuff, talk to people and people you never realize. There's so many good aspects of it. Platform for that positive stuff and it's real. Like, stuff real. And most of the time, people respect you. Like, obviously, but for the most part, you're just upfront, real about life. Like, people respect. But then there's the other aspect that I like, which I'm really really fake to compare to, and so there's that fine line.
Yeah, and you really got to be able to see through that stuff, though, too, right? Like, what do you suggest? Like, so Tristan, you post a lot of real stuff, right, on social media. Like, is it easy or it's hard for you?
No, it's definitely hard.
Yeah,
I contemplate it usually before I post it, and then sometimes I'll like regret posting it or worry about posting it or whatever. Like, I could post something and 300 people like it and 2 don't.
Right.
Those 2 are going to get to me.
Really? Yeah, and it shouldn't be like that, though, right?
No, it definitely shouldn't. And
I don't think you're alone, though.
No, definitely not. And that's another reason why I've been sharing the stuff I have more so, is because people, like, what social media is today, it is so powerful and like so good in so many ways, right? But there is that other side of it.
Yeah, because you never know what people are going to think, right?
Yeah, that, or just everyone's always posting happy stuff, and you don't want to post negative stuff, but you could still post and be real.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. Linz, we're going to try to see if we can get Be More on here real quick. So don't go just yet because I want to sign off with you good, but I'm going to see if I can get him on here.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's so crazy. And I don't want to get off on the social media tangent because I really feel like this is just about mindset and positivity and stuff. But actually, since Luna's there, like that's actually a good thing to know too. Like it doesn't have to be a human being. It could be other stuff that makes you happy, right? Brian Moore, what's up, man? Do it for Be More. How are you?
How are you? I'm here.
We're doing good, man. You already know Lindsay Geyser.
Very well. She's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. And then to my left here, we got Tristan Twisselman. Lindsay, just stay on with us for a little bit, and then you can bail out. But so, Brian, you've had a lot of stuff happen in your life. Recently, you've had the loss of some friends and things like that as well. We talked about Ken a few times on the show. But I want to ask you, before we talk about any of that stuff, what is some of the things that you do to keep a positive mindset? You're a busy guy. There's a ton of stuff going on in your life. And I know that you push past a lot of these things, man, and you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Yeah. Weird.
Oh, man. Is it us? I want to
So,
apologize.
Maybe I kind of think so.
I want to apologize to everybody if you can't hear Brian because our internet connection doesn't look like it's doing good. This storm is getting a lot worse.
All right. If you can't hear me now.
It's a little bit choppy, Brian.
So for me, I've had a lot of really bad.
Dude, this is aggravating, huh? I don't know what to ask. Maybe Brian, I don't know if you can move or anything like that. Linz, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. I can't hear Brian.
Okay. So, hey, Brian, I'm going to ask maybe just get off Wi-Fi and get on your cell phone service or something, or maybe move to a different room because it's a little bit splotchy for us. But you've worked with Brian a couple times, haven't you, Linz?
Yeah, we actually worked together on the shoot with Ken a couple years ago when he raced the trophy truck. So we got to go out and shoot that. That was a really cool experience. That was the first. So, but the overall, really cool.
Yeah, those experiences are really meaningful too. Like those are stuff that you treasure in your life, right?
Okay. How's that? I got good internet too.
All right. Well, we can definitely hear you now, Brian. It looks like your video is a little bit bad, but that's fine. Go ahead and tell us what you were starting to say.
Okay, so I was saying that I basically, I mean, what I've noticed and what's always worked for me is surrounding myself with positive people, and obviously influential people, and always not being the smartest person in the room. You know, I've gotten here because one, just working really hard and in a lot of it, right place, right time. But I've been very fortunate, obviously, with the people I've worked with, and you know, being negative like is just a cancer. It's not good at all.
Yeah, it can never help anybody. But well, first of all, great advice. But you and Linz both have this in common, as well as all of us, actually. But it wasn't always like that. You didn't always get to work with fantastic people, right? You had to start from somewhere, and I'm sure there was a lot of frustration along the way. How did you keep a positive attitude?
A lot of it was there was just no, like, failure wasn't an option. You know, when I started, obviously, I didn't know this is what I wanted to do. And so, you know, as I learned and as I grew, you know, like the first little, like probably the first year, I mean, obviously I had no idea what I was doing, but I, you know, just repetition and I spent a lot of time just putting my head into watching and reading. And because I was like, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I know it's, you know, this industry is very cutthroat, but there's also a lot of really good people that, you know, again, that to learn from. So I try to learn from other people's mistakes, so I didn't make those mistakes. And then, you know, just obviously, just failure is just never not an option. You know, I think it's okay to fall down. Like I think we all fall down. but it's a matter of how, I mean, I think how you pick yourself up and is what really will define you as a person.
I couldn't agree more. And it kind of goes back to what you guys were talking about before, Tristan and Linz, is like the never give up attitude, but surrounding yourself with those positive people to be able to lift you up and to show you the way, right? Like you guys work together, Lindsay and Brian, but you guys both would help each other if somebody else had a question, right? Or like somebody else on the photo shoot, if Brian needs something, then they can help him. Like, and Tristan, you were talking about helping your friend. Like those support mechanisms are massive, but they're not massive if you don't learn from them.
Yeah, 100%. I still call Lindsay for things. So, you know, you can't be a master everywhere. And that's the best advice I can give to everyone. It's like, look, it's you always ask questions. Like, and my whole career, I've always wanted to be like, I wanted to know enough just to get in trouble, just about everything, right? So whether it's like, you know, like filming or running equipment or how computers work or, you know, flying drones or I don't know, just stuff, right? Like I've always been very immersed in trying to learn because I think it only makes you more valuable. And a lot of in the Hollywood side of it is those people only know one thing. And if they don't, you know, if you ask them to do something other than what they know, then obviously they have no idea. So I think Lindsay is good like with that as well because she's very versatile all over the place, and so that's extremely valuable.
Yeah, I agree with that too, and that actually goes to show that like you're putting yourself out there though. Like you're really. Because you're almost biting off more than you can chew, I feel like, right? Because to me, when you guys talk about that, I see it from a blank perspective, right? Like if I had to learn all this stuff that I know now about a podcast, I would have never, ever tried to go challenge it and be able to do it. I went in naive, just knowing a little bit and just with wanting to be able to do it and then trying to learn along the way. And I think there's a lot of value in that, especially if you're a young racer or anybody in general.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing it, but you're doing it different. You didn't go in and just try to do the same thing. That's what's unique, right? You're doing it with your own spice and your own taste, and that's what it's all about. That's, you know, a good man told me that the difference between good and great is just that little bit, and I've always used that for everything. I always try to be great, you know, because just that little bit is what makes the difference between, you know, showing what you how much better you are, how different you are than somebody else.
That's a massive thing to learn, huh, Tristan?
I'd say you're doing pretty good.
Again, I've had a really good team, and I've worked with some really good people. And, you know, it's not just me. There's people in the background. I don't do everything. But I try to help. I try to basically put a platform for the guys that are behind me to make their job easier and to, you know, really just kind of make it easier for all of us. Cause we all, you know, I may not know something, but the guys that work with me, you know, it works really well that way. You know, where I lack, someone else has, you know, so I think it's worked really well that way. And yeah, and I'm still, you know, honestly, man, I try to learn something new every day. I've had you know, I was listening to you guys talking about quotes and stuff, and I have no problem admitting that I've always had a really bad self-confidence problem. And I think obviously we, you know, like everyone says, we paint this picture on social media, and you know, everyone thinks, oh, everything you do is so amazing and this and that. And in reality, they don't really know what's on the back end. And so I've always tried to be very, you know, forward with what's going on in my life, and you know, try to kind of, you know, say, hey, look, it's okay to speak up about having issues or whatever's going on in your life, because let's be real, as guys, we always try to be tough guys, and you know, and we're not very open with what's going on in our lives. So yeah, I try to be you know, an open platform for that, and you know, and just be real with people.
Well, I couldn't agree with that more. Lindsay, I could actually ask you this question, but before I do, the accountability thing that we were talking about, the perception is that you have to be a tough guy. The choice is that Brian is saying, I don't have to show that I'm a tough guy. I can be accountable for understanding that I'm vulnerable right now, or I understand that I need fixing. I'm going to go look for the help so I can have a solution for this problem. And that happens all the time in any situation, just like, you know, Billy was talking about slashing your tires or fix your tire, right? Like, it's so simple to just throw in the towel. But Brian, you don't do that. And Lindsay, you've seen that your whole life growing up with all of the people around you. So that is amazing.
Well, and I think, like I was saying earlier, how there's so much potential on social media to put out. Like super good at like always posting about your mental health and like looking out for others, and like he has a big platform and he uses it like for good. And so I think that's an example of how we can use that and how that's such a big part. Social media, regardless of what you do, it's a huge part of everything. So like we need to make the
Yeah, totally. And to go along with what Lindsay was saying, it doesn't matter if you have 1 million people or if you have 5 people. As long as you're helping one person, that's fine. So,
and that's my whole goal. Yeah. If I can help just one person, you know, I can't tell you how many people message me. And, you know, as someone that has, you know, and I don't know how deep you want to go or dark, but, you know, as someone that's had a parent, you know, commit suicide and you know, all that, I think if you can just help one person take a step back and try to put things, like you said, in perspective. You know, not everything's rainbows, but that's okay. And that's the thing. Like we all have our issues and we all have our, you know, things that happen. And just like me right now, and things are not good. But guess what? You know, as Ken used to tell me, don't be a fucking pussy. I'm gonna put my big point pants on and I'm gonna get through it.
Yeah, it's crazy to hear that, and especially in a situation like this, right? We got a puppy in here too. Hi. Yeah, and I think that's really valuable. What you guys both just said, Lindsay and Brian, is that a lot of these youth racers or anybody that's a little bit younger than us that are on the call today, it could be the end of the world. They don't win a race. It could be that they don't see themselves as being a professional racer or whatever. Like I said, the end of the world. What do you usually do? Let's go Lindsay first and then Brian. What do you usually do when you're in a bad spot like that and you think to yourself, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this? Like, what's the first move to make yourself better?
What I've learned is to just tell people, like just talk to people. Like we've said, we're surrounded by people that honestly care, even if we don't think they do. And so like talking and they have a whole different perspective on things like you guys were talking about earlier.
Linz, will you put the phone a little closer to you?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's way better. It sounded like the mic was just not getting traction. But yeah, like I agree, because you need somebody to lean on, right?
Yeah, exactly. And get that outside perspective most of the time, because we can get so close-minded when we're
That's massive that's massive that you realize that. So knowing that you need an outside perspective, Brian, do you lean on other people as well?
100%, and more than you can imagine. I have been so fortunate to have so many big, people that have been through it, right? And that's, that's one thing I like about off-road racing is, and generally people that race off-road have some form of success generally. And so, they've been through something, whether it's a win or a fail or something like that. So for me, I'm always calling people that, like I said, I've never tried to be the smartest guy in the room ever, because there's always going to be someone smarter and they know something that you don't know. And if I'm in a bind, I'm definitely calling, or I'm leaning on somebody to kind of try to guide me, through whatever what obstacles is in my way.
So one thing that I want to say is anybody that's watching the show right now and they just heard what Brian had to say is don't ever be afraid, whatever it is. If you need help with putting gas in your car, if you have a mental breakdown, if you need anything, ask somebody. And if you have to ask 50 people, it's fine to ask 50 people. If 25 of those people give you a shitty answer, then you don't want to ask them ever again. Just don't be friends with them.
Exactly.
The other people are going to be the important people that you want to be around. And I think that there's a lot of value in this statement, because there's so many young kids that I see nowadays that are too scared to ask questions, or they're a tough racer guy, and they don't need to be like that. You don't need to be vulnerable, but just be open to questions and answers. Like, that's it, man. It's going to help everybody.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think, a lot of people have the mentality of just, of just doing everything on their own and not asking questions. And I'm telling you, that's how I got to where I am today, because I just asked. I've never been afraid to ask, and I'm always trying to just always, right? I'm always trying to learn something new, and whatever it is. And literally, and persistence, persistence. And I think if you're persistent, and depending on what it is, but like if you're persistent enough and if you're like trying to get into something or you want someone to teach you something and you're persistent about it, I think that, and if someone sees that, I think they're much more willing to teach you because you'll retain that information.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. We were talking about this a little bit before, Tristan. I kind of opened up with telling everybody that there's 168 hours in a week. Justin Smith, actually, he didn't hear us, but he mentioned the same basic thing. So let's just put this into perspective. 168 hours in a week, and you work a normal job. I'm not saying you guys do, because you guys work 169 hours a week. But let's just say you have a 40-hour work week, and that means that you have 128 hours left that you can do stuff during that week. Just take 1 hour a day and go be nice to somebody, or focus on things that are going to bring you more joy in your life. There's tons of stuff that can happen, and I know that both of you guys, Brian and Linz, you guys both value your time very much.
I do. My biggest downfall is I can't shut it off, and that's the problem. And I think probably Lindsay the same way. I think that when I stop, then I get into like this, like I don't know what to do with myself, and I don't know if that's just having crazy ADD or what, but I feel like I do my best work under pressure, but I also am most destructive when I'm not under pressure and not being tasked with something.
How about you, Linz? Because you really are good at managing your time.
No, I feel that 100%. I feel like if I'm just sitting there not doing anything, like taking a break, I feel like there's always something that you could be doing, and so it like gets me that way. But I think it goes back to that, like we've got to learn to take that break ourselves.
Tristan, do you feel like that's something that has to be learned, or do you think that's something built in, is to just be pushing like and utilizing your time the best that you can?
I don't know. I mean, I think you can learn it, or I think that maybe like something. A perfect example I would say is like last year I lost somebody in my life, and it's like I wish I'd spent more time with them and done all these things, and like it takes something like that to make you appreciate the time.
Right, but now you understand that, and you're not going to make that mistake again, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's being accountable for it. So it goes back to what I initially had brought up, is about your perception of situations, the choices that you make, and then being accountable for them. And I think that ring goes around with every single conversation that we've had tonight, is making sure that you understand that. A lot of younger kids can't understand it quite as well as some of us older guys, but it really, really brings a lot of light to it, the way that you both talk, Brian and Lindsay. Do you guys have any other suggestions that you can give to maybe some younger people to be able to give them a positive mindset, to be able to look forward to things more?
What you gotta be more.
My biggest thing, and like I already said it once, but my biggest, like, understand that you only get what you put in. And anything like I, people ask me all the time, well, how do I grow my social media or this or that? And I'm like, look, like, it's like a baby. You have to feed it and it grows. It's not going to happen overnight. And you have to be willing to put the work in to see the results, because obviously it's like people that go to the gym for New Year's resolutions. They go to the gym for 2 weeks and they quit because the scale doesn't change, or they don't see the change, And honestly, it's a long-term, things aren't going to happen overnight. And look, again, it's okay. It's not going to go smoothly. It's not going to be perfect, but what you learn out of whether you're falling down, and what you get, what you learn out of that is what will define you. I can't tell you how many times I screw all the time, and I'm hard on myself, but I think that's part of it. You make the mistakes and then you don't make them again. And I think that's life. And a good business is being honest, being real, and don't be an asshole.
I love that. Yep, Lindsay, just like we were talking about earlier. Yeah, it's crazy. And when you manage your time like that and you start getting down on yourself, it's probably pretty hard to be positive mindset. So you probably have to take a deep breath at the end of every day, right, Linz?
Yeah, I think along with that, just like taking a step back and work out, everybody realize whatever through.
Man, we have a pretty.
I kind of heard you.
Yeah, we had a pretty bad connection, Linz. All right, well, hey, Linz, I'm going to let you go because we got to get Caden Danbury on here. Thank you very much for everything that you provided and all the knowledge that you guys helped with today. Brian, I know you are a busy guy. I really appreciate you coming on as well, dude. Very meaningful conversation, and honestly, man, you guys have some serious friendship out of this guy right here, so I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll come visit you here soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, guys. All right, we're gonna get Caden Danbury on.
Take it easy.
Later, Brian. Thank you. We're gonna get Caden Danbury on here. Hopefully, the computer and the internet will still stay alive for the rest of the show. Tristan,
I'm about to go back there and hold that tripod up.
Yeah, just see
Get
what
a
we can
better
do.
signal. Yeah.
But yeah, man, like all of the different things that we're talking about, like perspective in life is just, I don't know, man, it blows me away to just understand how positive people can be around us. Like, I don't know about you, but like we had a pretty gnarly day. We got Caden Danbury that's going to join us, but just hearing all these people talk makes me feel better.
From multiple different walks of life.
Yeah.
Like jobs, everything else. It's cool.
It's super cool. All right, so we got Caden Danbury. He's a youth desert racer. Man, he did short course in the past. One of my personal friends, also a taco connoisseur. So Caden Danbury, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, man. Our internet connection hasn't been that great today, but we can hear you, so that's good. Man, hearing, I don't know if you've been watching the show, but hearing all these people, personally, I'm getting I'm getting emotional, but I'm getting understanding of how positive people can be around you, and a positive influence around you really helps. Do you guys have that in your family?
Yeah, we definitely have that. We also have a team that's very positive. We're always looking. If we had a bad day, we come out of it positive, like it was just improvement. We can make so. Always having a positive attitude. The more positive you are, the easier it is to get through it. So.
Yeah, and it makes everything around you a lot better too, right?
Yeah, it makes if you're just positive, someone else will be positive, and it makes everyone positive, which makes it a good time.
Yeah, totally. So, Caden, I don't know if you know Tristan, but Tristan's a photographer, so if you ever need anything, man, just let him know, dude, when you're at the races, all right?
Yeah, if I talked to him before, he's a really cool guy.
Oh, there you go. So you know Caden?
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever met in person, but exchanged some DMs for sure.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Next time you meet, you know the way to his heart is with tacos. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You and him both.
dude, absolutely. So hey, if you guys have tacos and you don't share, I'm gonna be real mad. I'm gonna not be the positive guy around you anymore. So, Caden, when you guys have situations that come up, like some of the stuff that we've talked about, maybe you have a bad race and you know your parents tell you not to throw your helmet, but you're super upset or your car breaks down. How do you usually get through those situations?
I look at it. Instead of having frustration or anger with it, I look at it as we're just doing this as an improvement. So it could be on the side of we could have been more prepared and looking more into this product to see what else it needed. Or it can be, you know, just at home with the prep, keeping everything together. Now we know to tighten this to a stronger torque spec. I just see it as improvement more than a bummer, because I see it more as we're growing from this, so next time it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I think failure isn't a bad thing. It's learning.
Right there, yeah, man. Desert Squadron eating tacos right now, you jerk. Yeah, so you're basically saying, or he's basically saying the same kinds of things that we talked about, right? Like, so his perception is to have an open mind. He understood that, you know, they made choices that he has to be accountable for, and he's going to fix that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool that he's already learning that at such a young age.
I definitely didn't know it at that age.
I know. I kind of feel like I didn't really know it that young either. So do you think it's that kind of learning it from racing kind of thing? Well, because off-road especially.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Those guys definitely don't quit, most of them.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, man. So when you're talking with a younger demographic like Caden, what are some of the things that you can suggest to them to be able to make better choices and to utilize their time better?
I think who you surround yourself with is very important.
Just like Lindsay and Brian were talking.
Yeah. Growing up through middle school, high school, everything else. Like, who you surround yourself with will play a huge role in who you end up being.
That's a really, really good point to bring up. And so what's the outlook then? Do you surround yourself with people that are positive, hard workers? Do you like see what makes you happy? Like, how do you pick and choose?
I like what makes me happy and who I can make happy at the same time, you know? And
Right.
I try and mix like the positive people, but also you need the realistic people in your life.
Realistic, I think, is a really crucial part of it too. So, Caden, does that happen in your life? Are you able to, surround yourself with those kinds of positive people? Have you ever had, I guess a better question is, have you had negative people that you had to kind of kick out so you could be a happier person?
Yeah, I think just about everyone has had some of those people. Some of the people that you kind of let go, and it's a smarter choice. I like to surround myself with people that I keep putting in the hard work, and even if they're not successful yet, they're on their way there. Everyone started somewhere, so I think just setting yourself around the people that you want to be is the perfect spot to be.
Yeah, I agree too. But like, what about some of your friends? Have you seen any of your friends that get caught in a situation where they're not surrounded by people and you're able to help them out?
Yeah, there's definitely a few friends that I've helped out and kind of been like, hey, it's probably not the best decision to do that. If you want to be the best, we gotta work like the other guys at the top. So
That's cool. So you're helping other people around you too, then.
yeah,
Sometimes it's difficult to do that, though, don't you think?
yeah, it's definitely difficult. Some people don't see why too, and they think those type of people are cool, and that's just the people that you have to let them do their thing because that's what they want to do. So move on and just focus on yourself and get it done.
Yeah, see, like that right there just shows how mature he is, right? Yeah, because those lessons are hard to learn.
Absolutely. Hard to learn and hard to remember.
Man, it just makes a big difference when you can understand it, right? So Tristan, some of the stuff that you have posted on your social media, like, do you have any examples of the stuff that we've been talking about tonight that you want to bring up? Or maybe just some advice?
I mean, the whole time thing I think that we've talked about a bunch is probably the biggest thing for me because it sucks, but realistically, it always is taking tragedy for us to be like, man, life is so short. We don't have that much time. It could be over any day. So I don't know. I think that's
It is pretty massive, right? Caden, so how do you manage your time?
Right now, I'm mainly managing my time on school because that comes before racing. So I was pretty behind after California 300 since I took the whole week off to get the racing together. So now I'm back and I've been grinding on school to get caught back up and in those grades back to the top. Just do some school at the beginning, and after school, head straight to the garage and wrench on this thing all night. So that's pretty much how I manage my time most of the week, and then during the weekends, just get everything together, organized. If we had a long week and the shop's messy, I try cleaning it up as much as I can.
Yeah, it's a lot of work just operating your own race program. Do you ever get frustrated where you just want to throw in the towel?
Yeah, I do get frustrated, but I noticed that, or I realized that all this hard work I'm putting in now is going to benefit me in the long run. And I actually got a win. I want to rephrase that. My team got a win this year. And right before that, we put in a ton of work on the car, lots of improvement. And just my whole team was putting in a lot of effort to get that car out there. We ended up getting the win, but we put a lot of effort into it, and it got us to the top. So.
And what does that feel like for you and the whole team? Like, what's the understanding? Like, how does it make everybody feel? Because how do you relate it to this show that we're talking about, that same type of stuff?
Yeah, we've had some races like Silver State where it was just out of our control, and it was a hard race to come back from. And we took that and we put in as much work as we could. And once we got that win, then we all kind of like, we were all like, whoa, this is our first year and we got a win. So it was really an eye opener, and it was a big motivation to my whole team. Like, we know where we're at our first year and we're already at the top box. So now we know where we are.
Yeah, totally. And I know you guys as a family, you guys do a lot of positive things for everybody that's around you. So that whole team environment is really, really what keeps you guys going and got you guys to the top of that box. And that's exactly what Tristan and I wanted to have this show for, was because that mentality that when you work like that and you're not negative, you're positive, and you think about all the things like the realistic thinking, like Tristan was talking about, you have a good perception, you make the right choices, and
Appreciate everything.
yep, and you're accountable in the end of it. That's what ends up winning, not just at racing, but at life. Man, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Caden, do you have any other stuff that you wanted to talk about tonight or no?
I just kind of wanted to bring out the point that if you have a rough time or a rough race or whatever it is, just use that as fuel for the next thing you're coming up to, and put your absolute effort into it to make it to the box.
Yeah,
Like right now, we had a rough last race at California 300. We're using that fuel right now to get ready for KOH to hopefully bring it to the box.
Man, well, that's awesome, dude. I think that you guys are going to do a really good job. We're going to let you go. Tristan and I are going to wind down the show here and try to see if we can beat this storm.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good day.
Hey, you did a really good job, Caden. Keep up the great work, buddy.
Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah.
All right. So, man, with all of the stuff that's been happening, I didn't get to talk with you as much as I wanted to. So let's use a little bit of this time before we get off the end of the show to kind of talk about the stuff that you've been talking about. So we covered a lot of good stuff today. I feel like some of the stuff has been, I don't want to say a broken record, but like on repeat, right?
Right.
But not repeat for a bad reason, because all of those things are very, very crucial points in having a successful win at life. So what's some of the stuff that you use to be able to win at your life?
I would say trying to be positive is obviously important. Appreciating every day.
Yeah.
Like the good, take the good with the bad, because the good does not mean as much if you don't experience failures, then the success just, if it comes easy, you're not going to appreciate it as much. That's just how it is.
100%.
And I think,
but when you do get knocked down, come back stronger.
oh yeah, you have to use it as a lesson. And
that's like all you can do, right? But that's accountability. Man, it's good to understand all that stuff. Like when you're going through a hard day, what do you usually do to make it so it's better?
Sometimes I kind of like backwards thinking maybe, but I'll think of all the bad things or the bad times and how much worse it could be.
No, that's not backwards thinking. That's trying to understand the reality.
But yeah, like if I'm like something happens, I'm like, well, could have been a lot worse. Like I woke up this morning, no matter what else happens, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Jesse Nelson wants to come on too. Let's see if we can get him lined up real quick, and then we can have him talk for a little bit, and then we'll end the show. This is going on for a long time. Let's see if we can get Jesse on here real quick. We'll ask him how he's doing.
Probably at the local Starbucks so they can get his connection.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if his internet's doing decent today.
This is my light because my power's out.
We can't see you just yet, Jesse. Jesse Nelson.
The service in my house sucks.
There you go. Well, it sounds like we can hear you good.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. What's up?
So we were just talking with everybody. We've talked about, I think, pretty much all the subjects that we wanted to cover today. But what's your mentality, man? Because you've been through a lot in your life, and what do you usually do to stay positive?
I think it's really tough. I mean, everybody can always say they're being positive, and that's what they need to mentally tell themselves that, yeah, I am okay. Can you guys hear me all right? All I hear is static.
No, we can hear you.
Okay. I think the mental side is so much bigger than we understand, and neurologically, nobody really understands. To where you put your mind something, if you say you're going to do it in your mind, and you actually follow through with it, have it set there instead of being like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it," and then it doesn't go there. But like you said, being accountable. But it's tough. I mean, you get distracted. You have things. No matter what, people get brought down.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a lot cooler to rise above and do something. 'Cause
I agree with what Jesse's saying. It kind of goes back to what, I mean, Jesse's a good friend of yours. It kind of goes back to what you were saying is like.
I'll have to talk to Tristan in weeks.
His phone's always dead.
But
I think sometimes you got to surround yourself with people that hold you accountable
that's
for those
true,
times
right?
that you can't.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the support mechanism, right?
Right.
Yeah, man. So,
Well, you
like,
don't want to get shot straight.
what did you say, Jess?
Nope. Nothing.
Is he talking trash to you?
No.
But you guys have had probably, I mean, even just at KOH, like a lot of ups and downs, right? Like, how do you guys come out of like stuff like that with such a positive? Well, actually, you know what? I already know. You guys are both accountable, and you guys realize what's going on, and the only thing you guys know to do is just get better, right?
We had no other option.
We packed a lot of snacks just in case.
Yeah. We should have gotten an award just for me the starting line. But yeah, it's just persevering. It sounds like a broken record, but body.
Man, it's really hard to hear you.
The irony that the only thing I heard was broken record, and that's what it sounded like.
Yeah,
Just now
exactly.
is-
Jess, dude, it's really hard to hear you. Hey, Raceco USA said guys like Jesse are a huge motivation and inspiration. Chris Blaze, yeah, there is a bunch of people, man. There's all kinds of people that I really look up to as well. So I agree with you guys, Raceco, Jamie or Jen. Actually, there's a Honda Talon right here too.
It's got some. It's got a lot of Raceco.
Got a lot of
stuff on
Raceco
it.
stuff
Yeah,
on it.
thanks to
Hey,
Jamie.
did you see I was wearing my Raceco sweater all day?
I did. I saw. Then you changed. We both had camo on.
Dude,
I
my
figured
sweater
you were-
was soaked in water.
I know.
And plus, they wouldn't have been able to see either of us.
Yeah.
What, Jess?
George, I look up to you.
Oh man, is he saying he looks up to me? Because like we can't hear it. I kind of wanted to feel this one. We can't hear you,
I look
Jess.
up to you. I'm sorry, guys.
Dude, this.
It's okay. I literally jinxed this whole thing because all I did was talk trash on Jesse's internet every time he ever goes on the show.
Yeah,
And then the one day you come and
it totally backfired on us. Hey, let's get back to this positive thinking, right? Like it's never going to happen again. We're going to be accountable, and there's going to be no rain next time.
right.
All right, Jess, what were you saying? Let's try it one more time, and then we're going to hit the road.
I said, yeah, I just want to hop on. Let you know.
All right, we can't hear it, man. Well, hey, Jess, we really appreciate you coming on, dude. Thank you very much for taking us out to eat last night and hanging out, dude. It was really cool to see you. It's always a good time coming up Central California. So hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed that next time we can all sit down and have a good time. There's not a storm interrupting us. We're going to have a positive outlook, though. So, all right, Jess, we'll take it easy, bud. Man, I don't even know where to go from here. Should we just say, if you guys have any questions, hit up Tristan, hit up George, hit up all of our guys, and then we'll just ask some fun questions?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Use your fucking time wisely, people.
I was gonna say, don't take time for granted.
I agree 100%. What's the easiest thing to do as a suggestion? My personal suggestion would be don't watch TV. Just go actually live your life. What about you?
Yeah, I think just making memories with the people that make you happy and who you appreciate being around, and more importantly, they appreciate you being around.
Yep, 100%. So that's what you mean by utilizing your time. I agree with that, dude, 100%. Because I won't even waste an hour if somebody's a dick.
Right. And I've wasted a lot of time on a lot of different people, unfortunately, but
That's the past.
learning.
though.
Yeah, right. Learning from it, putting it in the past.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, make a list. Exactly. You utilize your time making a list. Hey, you know what? Every single person on the planet has an assistant in their pocket that can help them utilize their time better. So you guys can totally do that as well. All right, Tristan. Well, first of all, I really appreciate you having us up here. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best situation, but I would like to do it again if it's cool with you, because I'd like to get a little bit more of your story and understand a little bit more of you as a person. So, but I do appreciate you opening up and talking about these, honestly, life subjects with everybody.
Yeah, I feel like we need to talk about it more than we do, for sure, in different ways, because like you said, and like we've said today, it affects everything, right? Your life, your business, relationships.
Right, exactly. And the way that you can understand it, we're the Dirt Life Show, and the reason I wanted to open up this year by talking about this stuff was because we have plenty of time to talk about racing. We have all kinds of stuff, but I'd like to at least set this baseline so that we can all understand. If I bring up a subject, you bring up a subject in any of the other shows, we'll know what it's about, and we'll be able to answer those questions. And if anybody has questions, they can come back at us and ask us, right?
Right.
All right, dude. So we do this on all the shows when we interview a person. Do you want to go through rapid fire Q&A?
Okay.
Ready?
Let's hear it.
All right, rapid fire Q&A. Number 1, tacos or hot dogs?
Tacos.
What kind? Are you going carne asada, chicken?
You'd be so disappointed. I'm like the
What?
most plain beef, lettuce,
No, I'm not disappointed in
salsa.
that at all.
That's about it.
No, dude, I love plain tacos. 3-wheeler or quad?
3-wheeler.
Really? Death machine?
Yeah.
Big death machine. Pizza rolls or jalapeno poppers?
Pizza.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Even though the pizza rolls will burn the fuck out of the top of your mouth? Favorite movie?
Ooh, favorite movie. That's not a rapid fire question, is it? I feel like, actually, I like
Username is Jay. Thank you very much, man. We really appreciate you tuning in and hanging out.
10 Cup.
Oh, that is a good movie. You know what? One of my friends was in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, totally. Let's see here. Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Anything beat Instagram for you? No.
Well, it depends on what I'm doing. I mean, Facebook is, they both have their pluses and minuses.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be? Mine would be to get out of the cold right now.
It is getting colder. I'm sitting here.
I know. Any superpower, dude. You can do anything.
Any superpower. Probably teleporting.
Dude, that's what I want to do. Hell yeah. All right. What's your most memorable race? It can be anything. Dirt bikes, one with Jesse, anything you've done. Dude, it could have even been a foot race.
It was probably KOH, honestly.
Just because it was so gnarly?
Well, I mean, it was just like, yeah, so gnarly, but also just the adversity that it was so wild that we were there 10 days before everything, anything that could go wrong, like we were talking about earlier.
Did go wrong.
Went wrong.
Yeah.
Like our radios, Colby, I don't know if you've met Colby, but he put them in the glove box.
Yeah.
Like it was just, everything was last minute.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see what you're saying. He didn't even bolt them in. Like they were just.
No, they
throwing
weren't
them in.
mounted. They were just wrapped in a towel and stuck in the glove box.
Dude, that's crazy. But that's still one of those things, though. You don't know what you can do better unless you do it wrong. Like, I don't know. Like, when I see situations like that, just like what we talked about before, like.
I mean, we could have not had radios.
Yeah, and we could have given up and not had the show tonight, right? Like, we could have done it better. Like, I mean, I do think that we would have had a way better production, but that wasn't the point. The point is that I never, ever had it in my head that we weren't going to have a show.
Oh, no. I mean, if the internet, it was definitely sketch out here at best, but.
And I still don't think it's that great, but at least it's hanging on by a hair.
Yeah.
Favorite snack?
Favorite snack? Probably hot tamales.
No way. That's so good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What is that your favorite snack, like in in a race car or just like in general?
I mean, Emily packed me everything from gummy bears, hot tamales. We had jerky. We had everything.
Dang, dude. You guys are set up.
I know.
What other form of racing would you like to try?
Have you ever heard of stole drags?
No, what's that?
Like the bush plane racing?
No.
Thought about that.
What is it? Give me
It's,
like a
see, like,
description.
like the big wheeled, like Super Cubs and stuff like that in Alaska, the bush planes with the big wheels that fly. So they have it's called stole drag, where it's like two of them sitting like this, and they each take off at the same time, go down like a couple 100 yards, and then they have to land after a line, stop completely, turn around, go back, land.
Okay, so Lynn said yellow Red Bull. Dustin said that you're a big candy guy, and Clark said you don't
biggest candy guy.
All right, speedboat or dragster? Well, today, I think I know what you picked.
Today, I say like one of those little mini jet boats today.
Dude, that whole field that you got out here is full of water. Final question of the night: chips and guacamole or French fries and ketchup?
What was it?
Chips and guac or French fries and ketchup?
Chips and guac.
All day, dude. All right, man. I really appreciate you being the catalyst for us setting up this show and kind of talking about all this stuff. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off? Because I just want to thank everybody, man.
No, I don't think so.
I think it was a pretty good show. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in. I know the subjects aren't about racing, and I know that they were a little bit different. There was some subjects that kind of got people emotional. There was some that got us all positive vibes. But I think for the most part, it was a good learning lesson for us to be able to understand that if you have a good perception, then you can make better choices. And if you're accountable for those choices, it all goes back around and can really help you win at life, not just your race program. I think that those will help everything that you do around you. And I hope that everybody has that same thing in their mindset. And if you guys ever do need any help, and your friend of Tristan's, reach out to him. If you
even if you're not my friend,
yeah, even if you're not, you can reach out to Tristan. You can reach out to me, and I'm sure any of the people that were on our panel today, you can reach out to them as well. They're all open and very, very willing to be able to help people. But always ask your family, ask for support mechanisms around you, and then you'll know who's real. Then you'll know who you can count on. So really appreciate all you guys tuning in to the Dirt Life show tonight. We apologize for some of the little glitches, but we love you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to the Dirt Life Show. See you next week.